everything is screwed up. There we go. I think we're
Typical.
live? Question mark?
Everything's screwed up. I think we're live.
Every time I click on something, like things vanish from the scene. But hey, that's par for the course here.
From Scott's bedroom, it's Saturday night on a Monday.
Still better than Jeopardy.
Hey, now, hey.
I love the
those are
Jeopardy.
fighting words.
I actually really love the Jeopardy. I'm just poking fun.
It was absolutely
I am wearing
stuffed,
my-
but it ended up, it was fun. We need to do round 2 sometime this year.
I would really like to do round 2 if you could take a bunch of time out of your day to make that happen for us.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we can just show up
Yeah.
and have a good time.
That's all I've got is unlimited
I would
time over
appreciate
here.
it.
If you don't mind,
Yeah.
please, really.
I've renamed myself So Bad Strange somehow. Everything got completely twisted.
I mean, if you wanted to be the most handsome, entertaining streamer in the Dark and Darker category, I'd understand.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Welcome in.
Where's your
True.
sunglasses?
I'm
True.
going to black the screen out real quick. And
Remember the
then
I still can't-
podcast when everybody wore sunglasses? That
Yes.
was great. That was a good
That's
one.
because you weren't here.
I was here.
No, that was the week that you weren't here,
There might have been multiple.
and I
Wait,
think
actually, you might be right. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was the first time I was on the podcast and you weren't here, so I wore sunglasses to be you.
Sick.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
then everybody
Scott
else
had
put
me
them
with your
on.
name.
Crowfit. Wait, can you guys hear me when I'm pushing this?
Yes.
Oh. Well, let me fix that.
So welcome,
Testing. Are we
everyone.
good?
We're chilling.
Cool.
I can hear everybody. That's the good news.
All right. I had some
No.
slight technical difficulties.
Got all
We're
the
locked
intro.
in.
Now I'm locked in.
We
Yeah.
are
Locked in.
Nice.
fixed, locked in. It's like it never happened. We're kicking things
Perfect.
off right now, and we're live. Welcome,
Second
everybody.
intro.
right.
Let's
This is
go.
perfect.
What about
Hey.
third
Just in
intro?
time for me to be petting my soft black thing in my lap.
Nice.
All right.
Owen's got a soft black
Wow.
thing in front of him.
Man.
All right.
I pet that for
following
several
this trend.
hours at one point, though.
This
on
thing
camera.
is great for petting. It's like it provides
is.
happiness.
I should
In
have told you guys all to
exchange
wear
for
your
medicine.
shirts.
This. Oh, I mean, I have it right next to me in a totally folded up.
Just so that Ken could have
Clean
felt even
clothes file.
worse. Just so Ken could feel even worse about not being there.
He wouldn't wear it anyways unless you made a
You
sleeveless
think I feel
one, bro.
slightly
You know
bad?
that.
It's crazy.
He would just. Are you kidding me? He would just cut the fucking sleeves off of it.
Yeah.
What are you
It's-
talking about?
It's like all my shirts start with
Oh,
sleeves. You
Jesus
know,
Christ.
they have sleeves. From the store.
Do you think he just
And
goes
then
to
he
the
starts
great big
growing, and all of
sleeveless
a sudden
shirt,
they just rip off.
the sleeveless outlet? He gets all his shirts there. No, it's just normal shirts.
I mean, some of them, but
I mean, really, what happens is his arms are just too fucking big. He tries to put it on and just
Yeah.
bursts.
Yeah.
I have this though. I don't
You
know,
actually
it's
took the
reversed.
menu home
I
with you?
stole the
It
menu.
doesn't-
You're
it
fucking
doesn't
A
really
right.
Focus.
Look, Odin, right
You want me
here.
to focus it? I'll get it. Oh yeah, I stole
say-
one for so bad.
I have one as well.
You say stole, but
Yes.
do you think they were going to repurpose the Iron Mace menu?
They're gonna
Yes,
save
of
it for
course
next
they
year.
were. There's another side to that sheet of paper. Obviously, you've never been in business.
Wait, is this a yearly thing? Because I would look forward to that every single year. That was
Hey,
amazing.
they're doing San
Better
Diego
be.
next year, is what I hear.
for
10-year
TwitchCon.
Same
anniversary.
place.
Yeah, they're doing San
Oh
Yeah,
Diego.
my
TwitchCon's
god!
gonna be
10
at the
years
same
Dark and
spot.
Darker, 10 years TwitchCon, 10 years Morton Steakhouse.
Let's do
Oh.
it.
All right, let's. I mean, I never agree with so
Well,
bad,
yeah,
but this
yeah.
is the exception.
Oh, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to fill
I
in the
want
good
this.
people of the pod here as to how
gonna grab my
80%
shirt
of
then.
this wonderful podcast got to attend the dinner to rule all dinners
That was
at
amazing.
Morton Steakhouse in San Diego on Friday night of TwitchCon weekend, just last weekend. Seems like a long time ago, but
It
I
does
know,
seem like a
right,
long
dude?
time
Why-
ago.
it feels
It's
like
crazy.
forever ago. It's
Yeah,
weird.
for real.
That's
Who
why I
was-
went immediately
That's
back.
a good
Oh,
thing.
who wants to tell
Sorry,
the
go
tale?
ahead.
No, you're good. N-Boss, I think you should tell the tale. You were
I think Ken should tell the tale.
I think
Yeah,
Ken
should
should
be.
wait. Actually, let Ken make something up and see if he gets close to what happened.
Was this like whose line is it anyway? Like, is this, we're doing improv now.
Why not?
I'm opting
Get him his
out.
prop. Get him his
I'm
prop.
opting out.
I award Ken 0 points. 0 fake points. Yeah, the event, like I'm not sure where to start exactly. But TwitchCon was fantastic. Got to meet up with all the aforementioned, minus the most handsome of the group. We had a dinner that was hosted by Iron Mace, which is something I'm so blissfully unaware of. When I was discussing it on stream, I was kind of like, oh man, I wonder how much it's going to cost. Like, it's a really nice restaurant. And they're like, Iron Mace invited you to dinner and you think you're paying. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't I pay? It's like, oh. Well, it turns out they paid, and I had many lemon drop martinis. The food was incredible. The atmosphere was like one of the greatest experiences I've ever had as far as like a content creator.
That was really fun.
Just to be sitting at a fucking table with all of these, like, it's almost like the heads of state for Dark and Darker, you know, and then sitting next to like just talking with like Jin and Odin and Soma and all the other creators and just bouncing stuff off and enjoying the wonderful food. Like, it really was, for me, since, you know, I just consider myself just a little guy out here, it's just absolutely, whew, I'm still almost shaken over the experience. It was something I look forward to now every year. And if you don't match it again, Odin, I will be very disappointed.
Okay, so just to add to the story, I was the last person to arrive. I was a little bit late, as one is. And I walk into Morton's Steakhouse. It's this like ritzy, nice place. Everyone's having a good time, great vibes. It's like kind of dark in there, really like great smells of steak and lobster tail, et cetera, et cetera. So they take me back. They're like, "Oh, you're part of the Iron Mace dinner." They take me back and they like pull the sliding doors open, and it's just this long table with Sequisha, Yami, Arcane, N-Boss, Anthony Kong fan, like everybody, Nazori, and it was just awesome. There's just already like all these hors d'oeuvres on the table, and wine and drinks are flowing. It was
That's because he's late, by the way.
Phenomenal. I arrived just in time. I was the last person. I was fashionably late.
While we were all having a discussion about when you were going to get there, I was just telling everybody, I'm like, this morning when I ran into him, he was wearing a tank top and pink like surf shorts. I hope to God he doesn't show up. I'm like, I hope to God he doesn't show up to Morton's wearing that.
God, it would be better if he did though.
But what did I wear?
The pea coat with the sunglasses.
With the
I was looking good, dude. I was looking
good. To
be
fair, in his credit, I was the least dressed, and that's because of the hat. But Jin was also wearing a hat, and Jin is Iron Mace, and Iron Mace is SDF. So therefore, I was as dressed as SDF would have been.
And I was wearing a t-shirt and joggers. But
my mom made me this hat.
You're playing fast and loose with the transitive property right there, my friend.
There you go. That's right. It's the inherent tree. All right. I used to code. I know what this is all about.
It was it was great. All right. We had like tiramisus and molten chocolate lava cakes and the aged port. It was fantastic.
Tiramisus?
Yeah, he speaks in English
creme
very well.
No,
it was very delicious. And then we had food left over for several days.
Yeah, me and N-Boss ate like rats for like half a week.
Dude,
by the way, N-Boss, for those who didn't know, N-Boss stayed with me for TwitchCon. So
yes.
Yeah,
I got to sleep on the wonderful floor, and I got to pet the cat for 2 hours. I even made biscuits and got a couple of gifted subs for it.
No, actually, you never made the biscuits.
I did.
I never got the subs.
I got the subs. He actually came to my channel and was like, "Remember when you made those biscuits?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Here you." Yeah, he actually came to my channel.
I don't like it anymore. It was better when I was going to get paid.
So bad, pissed off.
Beneficiary of this.
Yeah, now I'm like, I feel like
unrealized gains.
Yeah, it's true. Stocks are down. All right, SBS Corpa. Anyway, it was really great seeing everybody. Arcane and Odin and I went and played disc golf with Nazori. It was cool.
It was beautiful course.
Yeah, great time.
Yeah, actually, I have some color on my skin for the first time in like a year. So
yeah,
I sort of feel like
most I've seen the sun.
We should just tell TwitchCon stories for the next 2 hours, and Ken just sits here.
Dude, I'm totally down. I could use an easy night. I'm tired.
I got stories. How about my first encounter with a gentleman outside of your hotel room, walking to pick up up wherever you're staying and whatever you're doing to keep it as nondescript. We walked outside, and there was this lovely gentleman. I'm going to call him One-Eyed Willie because he had one eye. He was in a wheelchair, and his other eye was glass as fuck, dude. It looked like a marble was just shoved into the hole. He's sitting there, and this is my first time like walking through the streets of San Diego, and the man just sitting there, and he's sparking up, and and he starts to just dribble down his face. And I'm walking with Sobad, and Sobad's like, "Hey, my man, what you smoking on?" And he kind of like just dribbles, PCP. And I'm like, "We're walking, dude. We're walking."
Our pace increased dramatically.
You never know when the PCP beast is going to break out.
It's like he might be in a wheelchair, but at the same time, I imagine that was somebody else's wheelchair.
Dude,
I talked to all the homeless. I'm
ate
afraid,
the previous
man.
wheelchair owner.
Yeah, that was a concern of mine. Also, at one point, I had to move my car, and I realized it like 10 minutes after the timer ticked because I was petting his So Bad's cat on stream for 2 hours straight. So I like got up, sprinted down, and sprinting past a bunch of homeless encampments creates confusion. And I stirred them from their slumber, and they like one guy started yelling at me as I'm running past, and I'm pretty sure he chased me because when I got in my car, he was like 10 feet behind me, looking at me, walking towards me, and I was like, "Yep, I'm driving now, dude. Don't get in the way of this."
They're like, did you guys watch the Last of Us show? Last of Us show on HBO?
Yeah, great show.
I haven't seen it.
You can't like disturb them because then they all know.
It's a hive mind.
It's a hive mind,
dude,
a homeless hive mind.
I was 3 days deep and 25,000 steps a day at 4 hours of sleep a night with being probably half drunk the entire experience. My running probably wasn't the most majestic thing they've seen. You know, it was probably like, yeah.
It was more of a shambling gallop.
Yeah, a trot.
Yeah. Yeah, TwitchCon was a good time.
It was fantastic.
That was my first time in San Diego. Also, my first time being at TwitchCon. That steak that we ate at Morton's, I got the prime rib, and I'm still thinking about that steak.
Check the menu.
It's just so
the menu.
It was so fucking good that I just can't. I've been thinking about steak since I got back, and I'm just thinking about ways. I'm like, how do I cook a steak that'll be anywhere near as good as that steak?
Bro, it was like some of the best food I've ever eaten. It was really
it was
the
the
top 5 or 10
meal
of my entire life.
I recommend sous vide if you're
nice.
a new steak enjoyer. Sous vide is very easy to make a very good steak.
Yeah, I bought a sous vide, but I want to say it might have been Lore actually was giving me his rundown on how to do.
I forgot. I've been thawing steaks for hours. Yeah, actually, Laura has a video on YouTube of him cooking a steak in his father's cast iron skillet that's like been passed down.
That's
Nice.
badass.
And he's using a spoon to like ladle the blood back onto the steak. It looks so good. Just garlic and steak. I'll be right back.
Laura was a cool dude. We all we ended up going out after the dinner to go to a hookah lounge nearby. We were there for a couple more hours. Some folks went to, was it the Stream Elements party? Was it?
I think that was
Lurk It party.
No, that was
no.
Stream
Lurk It,
Elements,
wasn't it?
No,
Or
Lurk
was
It
it
was the next
Stream
night. I thought
Lurk It was that night.
Missouri.
Stream Elements was the next night.
Okay, because a couple of people went to the Lurk It party, and then Jay came back and hung out with us for a while. We were there. You guys,
Yami
you guys
were came. We shut that place down, man. We were there all night.
Yeah, I remember you guys were there. I was so tired by like midnight, dude. I was burnt the fuck out.
That was me the next day. We all went out to dinner, and I barely had anything to say, and it was like 6:30 p.m. and I just stood up at the dinner table. I was like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, you were out by
Yeah, when we
were at 18 hours.
Yeah, it was 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I slept so much.
Yeah.
I stumbled in at like 4 o'clock that morning, and I couldn't believe you were still asleep. I thought like you'd wake up, start stream.
I legit slept 18 straight hours. Like it was fantastic. It was so healthy. I woke up. I never felt more refreshed.
That whole weekend, I think I slept 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah, you were.
It was a great time.
To be honest,
It was so much. Where were you surprised? Where's the surprise come from?
All right, so let's talk about the most important thing. What level of bribery do we need to get get Ken to attend next year so we have 100% participation? We need to
I sent him the picture while we were in chat, and he's like, you want to see what my worst nightmare is? And then he sends the picture back to me. I'm like, what do you mean? That's all your friends. He's like, yeah, exactly. I don't want to be in a room with all of you motherfuckers.
Oh my
To be fair, you couldn't replicate the atmosphere. It was immaculate.
It was
I'm like
amazing,
Ken
man.
on the vein of hating people and hating an opportunity to go out. I would never want to leave my house, but this is the one thing that will literally like prime me off like a barnacle to the seafloor, you know? Like this is it. Just hanging out, and I minimize the interactions with large groups of people. Like, if you want to say hi, please do. But you know, it's
also I'm
just
pretty
like
sure
I'm good one-on-one.
If I showed up, I would have got hit with a wizard nerf. So, like,
you did.
You know,
what do you mean? You did get hit with a wizard nerf. You had a chance to salvage this. This is your fault directly for playing wizard during the time when we could have had Iron Mace's ear.
Yep.
Nah, they hate me. I'm convinced.
Just so we're clear, the rank 1 wizard was actually at that dinner.
GG.
So
damn! Oh my god!
I'm pretty sure Lush wasn't there. So like, you know,
CNG Blade wasn't there.
I was gonna say I think it's CNG Blade now.
My bad.
Love that dude. All right.
Well, also, everybody was their person. I know like that's kind of weird to say, but since we've all mostly only hung out online for the last couple of years, I had like a little bit of trepidation. I was like, I'm not sure like if we're all gonna like mesh or whatever. I felt like everything just flowed. Everything was easy. Everything was chill. Everybody was like the same.
I feel like the Dark and Darker group is relatively well balanced. And just to clarify, sitting at that table in a lot of categories on Twitch, if you are at that table, those people are not your friends. They're your adversaries. They're your fighter. You're trying to scrap together whatever content you can, stealing ideas, cutthroat. At that table, it was a fucking fellowship of the ring, man. Everyone was just vibing. Everybody there is all constantly trying to pull each other back up. It's completely unusual to some of the categories I've been on in Twitch, and it nice. Could not be replicated. Yeah, it really was. It was something that I thought was it really just ties everything together about Iron Mace.
I blame the lore for that, because he was sitting right at the center of the table. Yeah. And that man,
he's just so handsome.
He just radiates like such a chill energy. I don't know how to describe it.
That whole table was full of handsome, beautiful people. I have to say, like every single streamer, I was surprised because a lot of them were like VTubers or like don't have cams or whatever the case. Everybody was great.
I was like, that's the lore? Oh, thank God he doesn't have a stream. Oh, God, now he's streaming it. Fuck. He's so handsome.
On Twitch. You're fucked.
Yeah, dude, I saw it last night. I saw that clip out and Pussy Warlock.
Dude, that shit was killing me, dude. I'm so glad he's on Twitch now, so I can just clip the shit out of him. So fucking funny, because he greeted mega hard to get the full pile, and he's saying, he's like, I'm gonna live. He's like, I'm gonna live. I'm getting this whole pile. I'm getting out. No way I don't get out. Goes for the whole pile. As soon as he gets to the door, the Warlock turns the corner. And it's like
sniper,
blatant stream sniper trying to fuck up his run. Gets out, just stands up, fucking pussy, just pacing around the room,
takes his jacket off, spikes that shit, takes the hat off, spikes that shit, pussy. Like, I was like, Jesus, man.
So funny, dude. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
great.
Enough about
podcasts, don't we?
Yeah. Let's stop. Let's stop making a discussion about.
Next topic is that also excludes Ken.
I was like,
I'm totally cool, by the way.
I'm chilling. Agenda today?
What's that?
Do we have an agenda? Will Arcane
tentative? I threw some very high level topics out there in the Discord if you want to take a peek. But
the first topic on the list, and I'm just gonna get this right out of the way now. Yeah. It's actually not the first topic on that list, but can we? I'm saying this as a player. Can we please obliterate Druid from Orbit and just fucking kill that class?
Cooldown on Shapeshift. We've fixed everything. Just add one of two things: cooldown on Shapeshift, or requirement to go back to human form before changing into another shift, because this is just abusive. They are indeed the new rogue. They're 10 times more obnoxious with the same annoyance that rogues have. They don't have to kill you. They just have to keep pissing on you until somebody else shows up to kill you and then clean up the scraps. There's no risk. All the reward. It's obnoxious.
Bear is disgusting, and you literally can't do anything about it unless you're playing triple caster.
Bear, you walk away from Bear, but the point isn't just the Bear.
You don't walk away from Bear, bro. You can't walk away from
a roaster or any.
If they're a good druid, they just fly right above you, transform Bear midair, and then they're holding W while right clicking. It's just
to clarify, you can walk away from the worst bears.
Yes.
Correct.
To clarify, what I'm talking about is I'm in a fucking doorway now. I'm immune to Bear. Like, you have to play. It's the same way when people are like, I died to a ranger in an open field. Fucking change where you're fighting the ranger.
You're in the doorway.
Ranger has to hit you like 4 times minimum.
Yes, I recognize
it. There's a tree underneath you, and it forces you toward him, and he bears, and you're fucked.
There's
3 trees.
So much
you're literally not allowed to push the box.
Yeah, they have 3 trees, and you have 1 life, so...
Yes. And then let's say the problem isn't just that. All right. Let's stretch out the fight. You won. You've won the engagement. You fought the druid. He fucking leaves. Full resets at any point during the fight, because instead of committing, he's like, man, I'm like 80% health. I think I'll just go completely full reset this fight. Meanwhile, you got some PvE. He's 3 modules away, campfiring. You fight the PvE off. He comes back. You didn't get all your spells back, but he did. He dictates every engagement. Every druid dictates the terms of the engagement.
Yep.
You don't get to.
It's really, really hard to punish them. And when you finally do, it's like a miracle. You're like, oh my God, I hit a fucking Molotov, or oh my God, I hit him in Rat. It shouldn't be like that. Like,
and also Mending Grove is a free 50%.
Yeah, but like
every time I kill a druid, it's because they made like 4 mistakes in a row. Not 1 mistake, they made 4 mistakes in a row. That's how druids die.
There's so many times where I'm like on top of them, and then he goes Bear and like almost one-shots me, or does one-shot me. And I'm like, bro, he played like shit for so long. Like, what the fuck?
Here's the difference between, because you said he made 4 mistakes, but there's a really important distinction to make there.
You played perfectly too.
Between there's making a mistake because you fucked up, and there's forced errors. And forced errors are when you outplay your opponent, or you put them in a situation where they have to do something that's disadvantageous to regain some kind of control of the fight. You don't get to good druids. You don't get to create forced errors. It is entirely in their hands to fuck up. And if they just don't, then you don't win. That's just it. It's so fucking aggravating, dude. The class needs to die. If they're gonna let druid be like really strong shapeshifting and they're gonna keep allowing this, then all of their other tools need to be like shut off. Get rid of Treant. Don't let them have heals. If you want to be crazy shapeshift with fucking Panther, chicken jump, and all that shit, you're not allowed to cast. That's it.
Yeah, I just mutually exclusive. I agree.
Should not have access to a class, a form that one shots almost every class in the game and still beats everything else 1v1.
Either that,
a class that can chase.
Look at that. Who's getting hungry? All right.
Look at you.
We're frying them up.
Are those the morning
please
steaks?
don't tell me you're frying those in that same pan. Jesus Christ, the heat distribution, that's abysmal. Oh my God.
Right, put a lid on the top, right? It steams it down.
Oh no, don't. Oh my God.
He's having steamed hams. All right, he's having steamed hams.
I'm podcasting. I can't babysit this shit.
Then don't eat them yet.
Nah, he just wants to
at
be.
least start for Druid.
I just want meat, bro.
Start with the scaling, like the agi scaling for the Panther, the strength scaling for the Bear. Could we at least start with nerfing the hell out of that? I mean, on a scale of 5 to 10, with 5 being 50% and 10 being 100%, how much does it need nerfed for both? Dude,
we've done
things?
everything we can to stop people from being able to one shot in the game, but Bear gets to do it like for the lowest investment I've ever seen.
Yeah, literal
like, Bear
piss
should
as
be
long as it's
cool.
strength
Bear
here.
should have some benefits. Like, give it the knockback, but holy shit! Like, I feel like they buffed the shadow, buffed the range. I feel like I'm getting hit from the bear paw further away than I used to be.
It feels like you can't escape it sometimes.
I'm going sideways. Yeah, I'm going sideways, and I still get one shot. I'm like,
players are getting better. That's what it is.
Fast.
I agree with Ken on this one. Players are getting better because most of the time.
But the buff to bear form for movement speed, no one asked for that. We have to agree. Back when they buffed both Panther and Bear, no one was like, oh, okay.
It was during their attack animations, as they made their attack animations less movement penalty during that. If I recall correctly, it was the actual like speed during the attack, which is a problem because again, like you said, with the player base increasing in skill, I used to just constantly sit there and go buckler block at every opportunity with a druid. Now I get one buckler block and I know they're going to sideswipe me, knock me out of position, and then go for the fucking vertical hit.
Dude, yes.
Like I've been playing this game long enough to know that as they evolve, so do I. But like I said, when I was talking earlier about how I position myself to fight a druid, I'm not saying I win those fucking fights. I'm just saying that they can't engage me into between the doorway and I jump out. And yes, they put a treant down. And then Iron Mace goes, well, now this wall that we gave you, you can't jump the wall. So why can't I jump the treant? Make the fucking treant a little piddly goddamn shitter and make it jumpable. If they're going to make one spell with the idea of we want this to be a blockable, but also passable terrain, why do they let them have treant and I don't know. Maybe it's because having two forms if it was too bad. But
Treant can be solved by adding a mechanic that we've all been asking for a really long time. That would also improve melee combat, which is some kind of a kick or a push, something that allows you to create space between you and an opponent, stops mobs from fucking cornering you and just killing you because you can't even hit them because you're swinging through them because they're hugging you against the wall, or you're just being bounced.
Though. Adding all that is a lot compared to just like what you said. I like the idea of if you're shape-shifting, maybe you can have spells and then we give them more forms. And then if they don't want to shape-shift, they have more spells. Like Druid just needs a little bit more, which I kind of thought they would have something else by now though. Like I sort of feel like they delayed whatever else they're going to get in favor of like really pushing out Sork.
I know Sork is being worked on. The only thing I can really say about it is that, and I know it's like we've said it so many times now that it's starting to get to that like boy who cried wolf stage, but it's all just lawsuit eating up so many of the resources that are preventing development. It's legitimately 24th.
24th? I thought it was 4th.
No, it's all on the
Okay, I just remember people in chat being like, yeah,
one pig 4th. One pig made a video about the doc that got released.
Good video.
Okay.
A couple days ago.
Did it data mine or did they
no, there's a Korean site that reported on public like public stuff that's on the Korean court. So
this is game.
Yeah, they publicized that the court date's on the 24th. So like with it approaching so quickly, all of key and like there's so many things that you would think or there's so few things that you would think that they would be doing in preparation for that, but it goes like so much deeper than I can even.
You want to win. This is more of the focus than anything else. Is like, obviously once we've finished this hurdle, we can resume the other stuff. So I understand. Well,
of course, nobody wants to be fucking spending however much time they're spending on a court case. Of course, they'd rather be working on the game.
Yeah, that's what I think. People are like, Iron Mason. Like, what do you fucking think they're going to do when the livelihood of their game is at stake? They focus on the livelihood of that. Yes, and when it's another issue like Druid, they'll come back to that one and fix that one after we've done that. But yes, I agree. It's
normally
we just got to kind of deal with it for now. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Normally, I'm pretty positive and optimistic about a lot of stuff. And the other night, I was actually like in my cups a little bit, and I was like, wait, but what if let's just imagine for a second if somehow Nexon won, and they won in such a way where they got to dictate what happened. I was like, what if they were just like, okay, Dark and Darker doesn't exist, and then I went down this whole fantasy line where what if they just made it pay to win, where like suddenly you can hit your weapons with a blacksmith up to plus 25. And if you fail, it just breaks the weapon.
No, not the fucking Korean MMO.
I was like the Korean MMO.
Weapon enchanting, the lineage 2. Oh, no, you know what?
Yeah, wait, we can buy something and it stops the weapon from breaking, dude, for $5.99.
Every plus 10 on the weapon, it glows with a more pronounced color.
Oh,
so that
shit.
Dude, so you see
it announces it to everyone.
Yep.
And when you get it to plus 21 or higher, it announces it to everyone online.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Across the server, SBS has received the Grimslayer at plus 21. Everyone's like, whoa, he spent so much.
Yeah, not a fan.
I hate it here. I hate this conversation so much.
What he says is he hates it here,
I think the point so bad I was trying to get to is that I think we're all grateful that Iron Mace has control of the game and not Nexon. That's the underlying.
The one thing to know is that even if the worst happens on the 24th, there's still a lot of appeal processes that Iron Mace can go through before Dark and Darker is truly dead. But in my opinion, from what's publicly available, I don't see Nexon winning the suit.
To play devil's advocate, though, like if Nexon did have control of Dark and Darker, those Cascades would be way sexier. That's I'm true. Saying.
If I died while playing a Nexon game, my corpse would whoosh, it would look majestic, and I would have spent $7.99 for my body to pop when I die.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I actually like that idea. That'd be a cool demigod reward for next season.
And your cleric would have
death animations.
Yes,
massive tits, of course. I mean,
but of course, it's almost like pay to win because they're not sure if you're dead. You reach out and you grasp your heart and you're like, no,
I want the Obi-Wan animation. I want my armor to just, just dissipate and just become a poof.
Hey, let's talk about Franciscas and traps.
Right. So bad.
Oh man.
All right, before
I was in front of the camera, I'm already getting heated.
Before he goes off on his never-ending tangent, I have Francisca's whatever. I haven't been oppressed by a barb spamming Frannies yet to really complain about that. But as far as utility items,
than ever.
Yeah, and the only barbs you see kill the first person they see because they ate through the map like a brain-dead monkey.
Let me chime in real quick. The first day they added the Francisca buff back, I was playing duos of Popcorn Nate and HI. We were playing Goblin Caves, and the long hallway with the centipede in the one room that everyone hates.
Yeah, underneath.
Anyways, there was a barbarian and a fighter at the one hallway, and then me and Nate and on the other end of the hallway. And I'm like, okay, well, this is good for me. I'm the wizard. I have range advantage in this long hallway. I'm just gonna start throwing fireballs, and we're just gonna win this, no problem. Next thing you know, it's just the barbarian and the fighter both just throwing Francescas, and I kid you not. I think they each threw 9. They think they each had 4 of their toolbar slots full of Francescas just down the hallway, just absolutely destroying me and Nate. And we ended up winning eventually. But I was like, this, I did not miss this. I did not miss just getting spam Francesca a million times, having them miss 7 of them, but hit 3 and then me almost be dead.
Oh, okay. So it's okay when the wizard casts fireballs, but it's not okay when the fighter casts throwing axe?
Yeah, I'm legit with Odin here, dude. Barbarian has no range.
Hear me out.
Fireballs are what? I'm not a big casting fireballs hit for 80% of your health.
Hey, I agree. Fireball splash is broken, but also I can't just buy infinite fireballs on the marketplace and bring them into my inventory.
Correct.
So
yes, you can. They're called campfires.
You get 6 for free, bro. You get 6 for free.
6 for free.
How many more do you need?
There's a big difference between 6 and 60. There's a huge difference.
No, I've always hated the fact that like the number one complaint I had about rogues is that like the best playstyle for them has never been to be. It's always been either landmine or just throw 1,000 fucking daggers at you, and it's like, why are they allowed to play like this?
Because the range meta creates that for everybody. But that's like on the idea of what consumables and utilities are to each individual class. I feel like that's something rather than like narrowing it down and being like, well, you know, everybody gets one throwing pencil per raid, Squire equipped only, can't be purchased. Like, I feel like they should honestly lean more into the utility side of items, because there isn't really anything I consider like a big game hunter tool that you can use. Like in Tarkov, you have like a Mosin round to the head of a fucking juiced up Giga Chad is going to fucking put them down. Now, assuming you're not using the weakest ammo in the game against like the strongest helmet, but you get the idea that there is a big game hunting item. A grenade will take anybody down in that game. Anything. It doesn't matter the gear differentials. Of course, there's no gear bracket, but like a ranger trap is kind of the equivalent of it. It's just the most poorly implemented version of something you could do for a big game hunting item.
It's okay. They added those in Tarkov, and now everyone hates it. They added.
No, they hated it. They hated it before that. And to be honest, they're actually pretty visible to see. I have not yet died to a tripwire in my 12 hours of playing on that one day that I had to play for drops. But
it's so funny. I'm sorry, this is so bad related. I've seen the clip. I've seen the ruins clip with the trap and the extra. No, I saw. I clicked on it because I wanted to make fun of you. I really did. I really wanted to make fun of you, and I watched the clip, and then I rewinded. I watched it in 10x or 2x or 50% speed, whatever. And I was just like, I was doing the meme to my chat. I was like, chat, just look down. There's so much counterplay to traps. Just look down. And I kept rewatching your clip, and you cannot see that trap.
Oh, you can't see that.
That trap is not there. I didn't know
he was there. So like, how? I have to have a torch out the entire dungeon.
I watched the clip back so many times I saw the trap eventually, but like, it's the just look down notion is so ridiculous. Whenever Rangers come in my chat and say, bro, just look down. There's so many spots in this game where you can't just look down. There's so many spots where you could hide traps. Now that ruins is a thing, there's so much foliage and grass and bodies, and you could hide them in campfires. You could hide them in
bodies are client side, so you never know. You know,
they can also just drop. They could just bring a 12 gold shield in with them and drop the shield and put the trap underneath the shield.
Okay, so I've arrived. All right, as the primary propagandist for the anti-trap new upcoming meta is that traps are a goddamn utility item, bro, and they almost always secure a one-shot in solos, and in duos, if the enemy team has any intellect, they're around the trap, they're waiting, that first player is dead, unless it's like a giga juiced PDR something and they just shield block, but they're still doing nothing. They're still trapped. It's a fucking utility item. It's not a skill. It's not like anything. And all of the best rangers in the game do not use traps. I actually made a new ranger just to showcase the power of traps, but I didn't use them at all. I just ended up playing ranger, and I was like,
wow,
it's way more fun.
Good at the game.
Ranger destroys, dude. Like, it's so good. It's got a backstep, so you land the spear, they can't hit you. They have two of them, you do it again, you've almost killed them. Like, rangers are so fucking strong.
Nobody good at the game wants to play with traps. It feels boring.
Well, also a lot of good players don't use traps because nobody on that team wants them to use traps because they're a liability to your teammates.
There are some content creators who put a big focus on 1v3 content, and I do agree that ability to do so would be absolutely hamstrung.
Yeah,
in a major way without traps.
I would be heartbroken for Soapy.
Yeah, directly, I wasn't going to say Soapy.
Wouldn't be heartbroken, bro. Step it up.
But literally, Soapy is not abusing traps, but he uses traps, and it makes 1v3ing 95% easier. I agree that it is.
He would agree. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and there's nobody that would say, "Oh, traps aren't making this easy." Like those kind of plays, like what we're discussing. I was talking with So Bad the other night, and we were saying, like, when I see a 1v3 from Ken going in, fucking spamming, zap, zap, zap. Like, I'm like, oh man, this fucking dude's the Wizard King. When I see a Ranger 1v3, I'm like, look at those traps doing all of the heavy lifting while he fires a windlass. I just don't feel like there's the difference in the skill level that's visible is palpable. You can cut that shit with a knife. And I'm not saying that that's a bad player. I'm just saying that they are using a mechanic that is inherently so overpowered and busted that it makes it look like child's play to 1v3 a squad.
There's also the issue of the traps can can just fuck you post-mortem. The ranger could be off
They
the
exist
map
after death,
and you're just running through the map like you're like fighting a mob and you backpedal into a random bush and eat a trap and you're just dead.
I've been there.
And it's so fucking, and they can just put it up by exits and prevent you from being able to take an exit entirely. There's just so many ways that traps can fuck you, and like Sobad said, it's not. I've said for fucking ever, if we're gonna leave traps the way they are, fine, but make it a skill that they have to use. It can't just be this shit that they can just put down and
like
leave it there.
Caltrops, make sure that they have to use two charges a raid, no campfire returning. Give that, then I will feel better about it.
I agree.
Again,
I was thinking this. Like, that's probably how Francesca should work too, right? Like a barb, it should be like a skill or a perk or something that a barb takes, and they get 6 of them, and you can recharge them at a campfire. I know it doesn't make sense like physically, but from like a balance perspective, the having a certain number of something in a fight matters, because then the enemy can like count. I'm just like when I fight a wizard, I'm like, oh, 1 fireball, 2 fireball, 3, okay, he's out of fireballs now. I can do this push, or like, oh, ranger uses windless. I can now do the push now because he can't windless. Like that kind of information gathering is super important and super rewarding and satisfying. And that's something you don't get with Francesca's, because they could have 1 Francesca, they could have 100.
You don't know if they have 200.
You don't know. Yeah,
it's like the one video where it's a stupid little crappy animation, but I can't remember. I really want to share it. Where the guy throws one franny
the K-balls, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, you threw a franny. You only got one more. And he throws the franny, and they're like, oh, that's it. You got no more frannies. And he cocks another. They're like, oh no, he has 3 frannies, dude. You don't understand. He could have 3,000, and then it's just fucking frannies come flying in.
It's like a machine gun.
It's like the joy in their faces is like, oh, we dodged both your frannies. What are you gonna do? And then it's like, oh fuck, dude.
It's so real too.
Up.
Here's the thing. Especially now with bunny hopping. I watched It's Flog.
That's another topic.
Bunny hop and put them on his bar again. So he went from throwing 6 at me to bunny hopping and equipping 6 more.
I'm curious the feelings about this group on bunny hopping and the skill required for it, because I feel like honestly it's almost too easy to bunny hop, and as that's going to spread, it's going to make the game very shitty.
Did you
see
I think Vincent's
it's almost
video?
Yeah, like the 6-hitter.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
On how
FPS.
Your FPS directly affects your
lower FPS is better, or is it higher?
Higher. Pay to win.
Higher is way better. Yeah, he went and manually frame limited himself in the game settings. So he was in the middle of a raid, his chat's talking to him, they're like, did you see that bee hopping is directly correlated to your FPS? And he was basically in disbelief. Then he basically pulled up his settings, limited his frame rate down to 30 or 40, something like that, and he could no longer bee hop at all. And then he put it back, could bee hop just fine. It actually doesn't really make sense if you think about it. It should not function that way.
It's client side collision and detection working against itself with latency, I think.
Well, a lot of games will use whatever the network reads at a like the tick rate of the network reads. If the network is 60 frames and you're not playing at 60 frames, you're not actually getting 60 frames of data to the network. So if the game is designed engine side to read all that, like you're not sending that kind of information back to the server. But it wouldn't make sense really on the client side for it to not work either. I would expect that if it had something to do with the way that the client or the network is reading it, that you would rubber band really hard when you tried to bunny hop. But are you saying he's just not bunny hopping at all?
Yeah, he's not hitting it.
He could not do it.
It's the timing. I think if we're down to 30 frames a second.
I don't even think it was that, Mboss, because he's got it bound to his scroll wheel.
Well, what I mean is that
that's another problem.
You can still fuck it up with scroll wheel.
What I mean is that you're basically putting the input in, and the frame where you're supposed to have that input is skipped because you're down at a minimum of 30 frames doing the jump, is what I mean. Like, you can be rolling the mouse wheel and have 100% uptime on pushing the button, but that frame of you touching the ground where you're supposed to actually be hitting the jump is skipped because you're down to 30 instead of 240. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you had like a 0.3 ms window to hit the jumping
to Odin's point,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Side, so the input should still be sent but the input itself should be, I would think, directly sent to the server, not coupled in any way to the output of your FPS client side.
Well, if your computer's not running it, it's not taking the input, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying is if you're doing it on scroll wheel, you're sending like 30 inputs in 1 second. So it doesn't make sense to me that it wouldn't work. There's got to be some other weird shit going on.
Exactly.
I have a different idea of as it doesn't work. Yeah. I don't think that bunny hopping in that light with the frame limiting and everything is positive, but I think skill expression is good. I just think right now we're on the speed train to everybody being able to bunny hop very graciously and it becoming just stupid. Like I like it.
Becoming faster and faster.
I like it, but it's becoming more widespread. And once everybody's doing it, it's going to be, and it's not as hard as people make it out to be.
I like it and I don't like it. I like it in the sense that it is like a skill expressive way for like the squishier, slower classes to kind of keep distance. But I think it being spammable is pretty toxic. I think the scroll wheel stuff, it makes it way too easy. If you just like bind it to scroll wheel, it's way too easy. I'm an ethical bee hopper. I use spacebar. I'm old fashioned. Okay,
same.
But when I see Vincent hit like six bee hops in a row, hitting a bandage and not losing any momentum, like that's not right. There should definitely be capped at like 1 hop per jump or something, or I don't know how they would do that.
Getting the timing on 1 or 2 jumps feels good, but getting it on like 6 jumps and just rolling the mouse wheel the entire time, I'm seeing a lot of that lately. A lot of players are just full momentum, speed jumping through the map.
I'm gonna play the bad guy here, and this is coming from somebody who fucking was addicted to bunny hopping in CS. I was always the entry fragger, just bee hopping when it wasn't necessary because it's just fun. I actually think we should probably remove it because for one, the people who have complained that it really doesn't fit into the game and it's not like it kills part of the design of the game. It's like this hardcore dungeon crawler with magic and barbarians and shit, and everyone's just hopping around all the time. It does kind of take you out of it a little bit, but at the same time, it's like I feel like it's a band-aid to problems that we should address in other ways. And I also don't know that
I agree.
Continuously speeding the game up is a good thing, which I've advocated in the past for giving people more mobility. And I love back hop, for example. I actually think that's a great addition.
Oh, backstep's awesome. Yeah.
And that's a staple of Ranger now, in my opinion.
That was a wizard staple during multi-classing too. That shit was fun.
I just think I think that maybe we just need to look at the game in other ways, like taking out your weapon. Maybe like taking out your weapon and sheathing your weapon shouldn't have a movement penalty, because all you're really doing is just forcing people to use bee hop to overwhelm that or overcome that anyway.
Yeah.
So once you get good enough, you're just negating the mechanic. In some ways, it's good because it creates a skill gap, but it's like you said, it's so easy that it's not. It's just like it becomes like a fundamental skill at a certain point, and I don't think people find that interesting.
That's where we're going.
It's goofy.
I see that.
It's goofy to look at, and now that most people are like at least competent at the game that are playing right now, it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel as good as it did.
I would be totally fine with it being removed, but I will say there definitely is probably like an artificial representation in the data of like these squishy range classes performing better than they should because of it. And I guarantee you, once you get rid of bee hopping, you'll see wizard win rate go down, warlock, ranger, and I hope they
even
would like
cleric, even as a full plate.
Yeah. And like
it's definitely something used to catch targets.
Sure. Just look at the easiest games to draw analogs from are like other, like I won't say competitive, but other like MMOs, especially WoW. There's definitely some inspiration that come from those games, and when you look at those games, they don't have a movement mechanic specifically. It's all based on what your class is capable of. They also have one thing that I've seen people make the comparison to is that in World of Warcraft, everybody gets to the same. When you're geared, everybody's in the same base speed. Everybody's 115%. And there are some abilities that you can use that'll let you go a little bit faster, or you can talent in to get a little bit faster, but there's a cap to it, and you're not just like looking at all these variable move speeds. I think if we were to do what you and I kind of talked about a million fucking times, which is to tie your tankiness to your movement speed and make your resilience and movement speed a completely linear correlation, the game would feel a lot better without bunny hopping.
Yeah, like you said, I am very anti. Like, get rid of bunny hopping. That's fine. The point I'm trying to make is, it feels like Iron Mace is already like from the spellcaster perspective, warlock and wizard. That's where I could talk about, and cleric too, I guess. That it feels like they have like directly nerfed spellcasting speed because bunny hopping exists. I feel like spellcasting speed was way stronger with bunny hopping, and they nerfed spellcasting speed because they probably don't know how to, or didn't realize that bunny hopping is the actual root of the problem. And then once they get rid of bee hopping, spellcasting speed is gonna feel like shit, and they'll have to adjust that down the line. It's just I feel like that problem is correlated. I feel like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like in the high end of data, all they see is that the win rates for X have gone up. They're not sure what's really, they couldn't have anticipated that everybody's jumping around like fucking idiots. But it's at the same time, like, are they balancing on that? And once it's over, I don't know if they're going to under or overcorrect, but I have faith that Iron Mace will definitely take into account the change in the data as far as like if they see a decrease in Wizards' effectiveness or Cleric's effectiveness. Like when I'm bunny hopping, it's because I'm trying to fucking catch up to some assholes jumping away from me while I'm trying to heal them. So it's like if I don't catch up to them, I'm doubly behind. Yeah. Oh, that was a thing. Yeah.
No,
bunny hopping to Earthquake was big.
If you don't use it, you're stupid at this point.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But also for me, it's annoying when I'm like pushing a full play cleric and then he bunny hops backward twice. And I'm like,
oh, dude, the worst are the
full play, bro. Like, where's this fucker going?
The DP smite clerics. The DP smite clerics in like their 320 moose speed sets that just like double jump bee hop towards you. Even when I ice bolt them, they're still just like running at full momentum. Like this is crazy.
Yeah. Watching some of the arena fights and seeing how easy it is to outplay an ice bolt simply by jumping, I find it weird that there's such both player agency and player not agency over your own movement. Like with the idea of how a spider mummy can walk up a fucking staircase, shovel you off 30 feet into a random direction. But if you're jumping and you get rooted, nothing stops you whatsoever. Like, I don't feel like if you're jumping, why the fuck are you not? I could hit you with a bolt of ice. That's still got momentum on it. It should probably stop you, slow you, or do something.
Same with bind. Bind has the same issue.
Yeah.
If you try to bind someone in there.
It's just the way movement speed functions in regards to falling. There is nothing that it can impair you unless you get knockback shot.
It's this weird mini game where like now when I'm casting ice bolt and the guy's jumping, I have to like
waiting for them to
land, and then I have to get around their shield, shoot them in the toe, and it's like it's such a hassle just to like slow you down for a half a second so I don't die instantly.
The problem with that stuff is it's like this triangle of issues where if you have
move speed,
if you have classes with too much domination over other characters' control of themselves, like things with Thornwall, Hydra, being able to block people, tree, ice bolts, bind, anything that takes away your ability to catch up to them. It's like you're just constantly in this battle of like if they don't fuck up, then I never get a chance to play the video game. If they do fuck up, then I get on top of them and they lose. And it's like how many mistakes does a player need to make before it feels good? And do we really want the game to stay like this forever? Like I'm at this point now where I was talking to Seb a little while ago. We've been discussing balance nonstop for the last couple of days, and it's like I don't want to ever go back to the plus all meta. But he made a really good point, which is that when there was a lot of damage available on gear, you'd have people in like cheap kits able to equalize fights because they would do enough damage to get through the super tanky players that we have right now. And that's what made like, a wizard that was kiting really, really well still be able to kill people because they could invest into doing a lot of damage and just stay mobile. But if they were choosing to build that way with low gear, investing mostly in damage, they were one shot as soon as they got caught. Or if they got pelted with range damage, they just died. That felt more like they had control and agency over their design for their build and their gameplay style than just maximizing your kit in every single way, shape, and form. And then it becomes a numbers game of, is this person tanky enough to catch me? And if they do, I lose.
As somebody who directly benefited from that as a wizard, I prefer it now for sure. Like
I prefer it now.
Like yesterday, I had a fight where I was playing with Brian and another friend of mine, and we went to a fight against like OG Puffball, or it was Bard, Barbarian, Cleric, and they were juiced. And I'm 5 spell overload. I have all my spells, 5 damage spells by the way, the cannon build, and I've hit this team with 15 spells. And I killed one guy, and the other 2 eventually killed me. But it was awesome. I was just there nuking, hitting them. They were healing, they were sinking, they were all stacking MR too, which was crazy. But like, the fight was just awesome. I ended up losing, but like I'm happy that fight lasted as long as it did. I felt like I was doing things, they were doing things. It was a fun interactive fight that lasted like 2 minutes long, to the point where I was completely out of spells and I went down swinging my crystal sword type of fight. And like I want more stuff like that is great. I do not want the one shot meta. That's why we hate trap. That's why we're raging about bear.
Yeah, I don't want one shot too.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody can agree that the longer a fight goes on, the better it feels. That's why normals, when they were first introduced with the white gear lobbies, everybody was just immediately taken aback with the idea that, holy fuck, that ranger has to hit me 6 times. I don't get one tapped out. The fight actually has control. I can reset. I can re-engage. There's counterplay. There's back and forth. There's push and pull. Like, that's why I kept saying that the game really had a great idea when they put those lobbies in. That's why they added plus 15 life to everybody. Iron Mace sees this data and they know everybody enjoys that that there is a counterplay, that like the map positioning matters, where you reset to matters, if you reset in time, if you ape off of a couple of hits, you know, all of that stuff just feels so much better when you have a lengthy fight instead of like, I walked through the wrong doorway, I'm dead.
I agree.
I got rooted in landmine.
You said the key thing in there. It's not just that the fights are long, it's that there is a play and counterplay. You can have long fights where you just get abused and die where there's no counterplay, right? Like you can run from a druid while he just gradually picks you apart, keeps flying at you in bear forms and hits. You run as a cleric slowly, heal yourself. And by the time you've healed yourself, he's chicken to bear again, hits you again, knocks you back, heal yourself, chicken to bear again, hit. There's no counterplay there, right? That's not fun. It takes a long time.
It's just you on the ropes the entire time.
It's a long fight, but it sucks. Now, what Ken said and what you said is that there is that push and pull. There is play and counterplay. That makes for a fun fight, regardless of the outcome. It's when it's completely one-sided and you feel like you could have played it to the best of your possible ability. You may have been equally geared or slightly off, but you know it's not a gear issue at all. It is a class, mechanic, or ability issue that completely won that fight. That's when it feels really, really bad.
Yeah. One of my most recent deaths to a druid is the exact situation where I had him ape into me with fucking like 12 mobs, chasing him down the entire time. And instead of stopping to like reset the mobs, he literally played the absolute most brain dead way and tried to kill me in a doorway, 4 skeletons swinging up his bare ass while he's trying to paw me, and I'm sitting there blocking, talking shit the entire time because I'm like, dude, you probably should deal with the PvE because you're brain dead and you don't know what you're doing. He fucking rat forms and scurries between 8 mobs' legs, runs away, resets again, comes back after me, circles around. Like, he actually played the poorest a druid could have played and still can eke out wins because I have no counterplay. I have no agency. I don't get to dictate anything in that fight except where I'm going to fucking die.
Right.
As the guy in chat, why didn't you just throw a Molotov in, boss?
Why don't you throw a Molotov, dude?
Yeah, right. But that's the whole thing. Like, it was exactly what he's saying is it's an entirely one-sided fight, and the druid doesn't have to be the agent of your demise. It just has to constantly chip at you or force you out of position into the rogue that was waiting, into the barbarian that's over on the other side, into the fucking other cleric. Like, that druid never has to take those fights. He just has to piss on you until you walk into something else and die and collect the goodies. It doesn't feel fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to rehash the druid bashing discussion at all, but yeah, just like as Ken went through that, and you did too with that point, like the longer fights, I think we all agree, longer fights are better. I know SDF and Terrence are not aligned on this, but longer fights are better, and what makes longer fights better is the push and pull, the play and counterplay aspects, and the more of that we can get, the better. Let's talk about warlocks real quick. They got nerfed.
Before we move on, because I was the one that brought that up, I wanted to go a little bit on this because I agree with you guys 100% that I like the longer fights and I've always advocated for that. However, I think there is a problem where when you get to really high gear, the fights start to feel more like a slog. You become very, very susceptible to third parties, and it's like there's an issue in HR especially where when one team is ultra geared, you really can't beat them. But on top of that, they're so much more powerful at dealing with the much more dangerous PvE in HR and so much more able to move around the map than you are, which gives them better positioning and makes you more susceptible to third parties. If you even manage to win the fight against them, you're guaranteed to die to a third party, basically. I still think that the longer fights, we have this one problem that we haven't been able to solve, which is just the third party element. And I understand that, you know, there's still kind of the concept of the battle royale in Dark and Darker, but I feel like it's still this really big point of frustration when you listen to some of the higher level players who are constantly playing HR and playing with 50k kits on a regular basis, which I know is technically a minority of the game at this point. It's like you just are just constantly dealing with really obnoxious meta uber gear buff ball bullshit with like Demon Warlock and Bear Druid, and constantly dealing with third parties. And I see that part of the game that used to be something that people were really excited about to get to this big upper echelon and get into super great gear as something that people are just like repulsed by now.
See, so I can maybe just play devil's advocate here a little bit. Because I get this argument all the time in my chat about, oh, well, if we have longer time to kill, it's going to be third party problems. And I'm like, I played this game for 2 years now at this point, and I played with low time to kill. I played with high time to kill. There's third parties no matter what the time to kill is. If it's a high time to kill meta, and I'm getting third party by somebody who has first strike advantage, I'm just dying faster, is what I've realized. I've not noticed a change in the amount of third parties. There will always be third parties. Third parties has nothing to do with what time to kill is. The majority of the third party issue really comes down to how the maps are made and how fast they're easy to be traversed. And if I hear somebody fighting, 3 modules away, how fast can I get there?
I'm actually so glad that you said this, and I know
now
you
we can
were
talk about
ready.
runes and how greatly it was revised and how they've done so much to stop spawn rushing, and they really did a great. What the fuck, Iron Mace?
Okay, so for ruins is an amazing redesign from a.
It's a great redesign.
An ambience, and like, immersion and kind of cohesiveness perspective. I think they did such a good job from the gameplay perspective, but from the PvP perspective, it's still the same pain in the ass map that it was before. But I'm really glad that you brought this up, and I'm actually going to send you these, Scott, since I know you're going to be the one that shows it on your YouTube. But I got a DM from somebody named Sometime Before on Discord who sent me this really interesting idea for a Forgotten Castle map. And it was designed with the intent of trying to split the fights up, and I'll put it in the group chat so you can see it there.
I was going to say, I just think one of the biggest solutions is one of the most obvious solutions, and that is a bigger map. Right now, too many people finding each other, too many angles for third parties, hearing people across 3 modules. Like, this is all solved with a larger dungeon. Like, the dungeon experience is more organic when you're not constantly chasing down spawns because you spawned 2 blocks away and you know how to jump over a wall and catch somebody third partying. And I think like the distance between teams being significantly larger, the dungeon being more of a danger. Yes, those are things that people don't like, but I think that's what makes Ice Caves into one of the more better maps.
Yeah,
if you want to ape through, you have
POS.
Yeah, there's nothing for you to do on Ice Caves, so it's like a scatter besides hitting the spawns and trying to kill people. But the idea is there, and I think that's on the design of balancing the pacing. Ice Caves PvE is so harsh that you don't get the opportunity to cross modules without punishment. There's no windows with the doors; you have to break them. So it's like the pace is very slow.
A simple thing that they could probably change that would stop a lot of third party, and not entirely, obviously, but just. People are gonna hate this. Just double the amount of time it takes to open a door.
No, dude. No. I will quit this game.
No,
I will fucking quit the game,
dude. If you have to clear a room before opening a door, that will slow people down. Right now, I can run through any module. Yes, I know people hate this.
I'm not gonna listen to somebody tell me that 3 Rangers should be able to shut a door in my face and be in like fucking a different zip code by the time I get the door.
They should have to,
as the slowest door opener here. I want to know what else you have.
They should close
something else for me.
They should close it equally slow.
Make every door needs to be a stone door that you just slide open very slowly, and it takes 3 barbarians to move.
I think either leave it. I think either do what Dungeon Board did and make it so your interaction is interrupted. If you take any damage at all, so you have to like poke people
just blow doors down.
Ooh, or Warlock meta, let's go.
Or what I would like to see is why the fuck does it take you 3 seconds to open a door in the first place? It's not locked. It's just you opening the door.
They're goblin doors made for goblin fingers.
It's just a door.
No, seriously, I get it. It is most of the time. One thing having interaction speed is weird, but
I really wish that if somebody slams a door in your face,
quick open.
The door
Kick
should
that
be
fucker down.
You should be able to open the door right back up like that. It shouldn't be like
we talked about this before. It's a great idea.
They didn't just kick the door shut and all of a sudden it relocked. It's like you just open the door.
Let's say say a door hasn't been open the entire raid. That should be more slowly open. Like, the problem I was trying to get at is that right now, like, let's say I hear somebody fighting, or I see a Sank in the sky because that's how Ruins works. I see there's a Sank three modules away. I'm like, oh, let's go third party that guy. I could just run through the room, not kill a single mob, open the door before the mobs get to me, and then close the door. That's the problem, right? If opening the door takes long enough to the point where the mobs get to me, then I have to clear the mobs before going to the next room, making it so I have to clear each module individually, progressing through the dungeon slower and methodically, like how it should be. Right now is I could just ignore 100% of the content, and I'm like the slowest resourcefulness class in the game besides cleric.
So that map I sent,
okay,
this was sent to me by somebody from somebody on Discord, and they said they basically put this map together.
I've got
with
it
the
up
design
on the
intent
right now.
They basically said they put this map together. I put it in the group chat for the rest of you guys who want to look at it.
What the fuck are we doing?
And to your point, Ken, bigger maps is something that was talked about internally, and I know SDF has even mentioned this before, but it is all boiled down to just performance constraints. So until the team is able to upgrade, optimize the engine more, it's probably not going to happen, but it is something that they want to do. So I would love to see like a 6x6 or 7x7 map, because I 100% think that you could keep the same amount of players in a map, and you would still have plenty of good organic interactions, but way less third partying. Mm-hmm. But this map design, good.
I was going to say, optionally, POIs do generate a lot of actual pressure around the map. So if you want players to go generate like a certain areas, like wealth improvement, you want to have the sweaty squad. Oh, I know that they're going to be in the gold pile in middle, so I'm not going to go to the middle of the map. Give them more POIs, and then more rats can at least scurry around the edges, or like those big players aren't looking for it. Or
is
like,
anyone hitting POIs in over 125? Nobody's hitting POIs in 125.
To play off of so bad's, or not so bad, end bosses. I'm sorry for calling you that. I deeply apologize.
Holy shit!
A lot. Why is it happening?
That's so bad in my mind. But back to the points of interest. I think point of interest are very good, because like if you're hitting a point of interest and you get into a fight and then you get third partied, you're like, oh, well, I was at a point of interest. Like you're asking for it. Yeah, right. Yeah, you made a choice.
Yes,
and you reap that. But to allude to what you were saying, Odin, people are not hitting point of interest because 124 loot sucks ass, or just normal loot sucks ass in general, and gold piles suck. And why would
you're there money? When you queue 124.
So your point is they're not interesting.
Make them interesting. Yeah, they're points.
They're just points. We're not. If I'm saying it's a point of interest, then people have to be fucking motivated to go there.
All right, Sobad has arrived in chat. Call me devil's advocate. As a prior esports and battle royale lover, from Naraka Blade Point to Fortnite to et cetera, I really like the third party element of this game, and I think people need to sort of get over the fact like when I lately I've been playing with certain creators that are just constantly kind of crying that the meta is just a wait for other teams to fight. That is always how battle royales operate. And so in order to counteract that, you take a module, you do slower movement. The main complaints that I've heard from this field about third partying is those who wish to just W key and spawn rush their asses off, and they're punished for that. While other people are clearing modules and hanging out and doing the dungeon diving aspect, and suddenly all these other players just arrive. I like that part. And the truth is that you can loot way more in this game than you can lose. And typically when you wear really expensive kits, it doesn't pay itself off. You would think it would, because you're so much more powerful, but it makes you cocky and arrogant, and then you get third partied, or you get too many mobs behind you, whatever the case is. Even the door meta, I think, is mostly fine. Because if you fuck with doors, it's impossible to escape now. You make it so, like, that's the thing about Dungeonborn. Part of it is cool. He's trying to open the door to get away. I hit him. It cancels his animation. But you know how that feels when you're the person running, and you're like, cool, I just literally can't fucking get away because I'm not allowed to open a door. And I've already felt that way before with Wizard, when I'm caught out somewhere and they just keep fireballing and just keeps knocking me off the door. And I'm like, all right, I'll just die, bro. Like, I'm just not allowed to operate. Like that's
as cleric, I'm pretty much resigned to how other people are going to play the game. If I have a door open in front of me, I'll survive. But if I have to go touch that, I'm already dead. I might as well just run a different direction.
I do want to add, I do like third parties, but I talked about the stream earlier today. Like, I think third parties, like those moments where you get into a third party and it's like a really sick fight, those are like what make the game great. I'm not like anti third party. I think third parties are what make this game what it is. But I think it is too easy. Like it's like too brain easy to just get third parties.
I think it happens too much
because the TTK is like a little bit compared to battle royales like Tarkov, right? Tarkov, we have very static spawns. You have a lot of spawn rushing. You have a lot of third partying. But in Tarkov, you can turn and you can one-shot them and really punish them. You can't really do that in this, and that's why the TTK thing is always an issue. Because if it's too long, when you get third partied, you will never, ever, ever win. And when it's too low, which kind of like what Odin was saying, there is part of the +3 all meta that I enjoyed where every class was capable of assassinating another class. Everybody hit hard as fuck. Everybody was stacking move speed and ad damage, and you were just like, rangers were just pew-pewing, and wizards were just pew-pewing, and if the melee got to you, you were two-shot. And now there's like way more complexity in the fights.
See, I disagree totally because like I was talking about earlier, like if the time to kill is lower and people do more damage, the people that are just third party that are coming in hot, they get the first shot on you, and if they get the first shot, which they're going to be doing because they're third partying you, it's already over. You only have time to like even think about losing because you've already lost.
Yeah.
Really, what that boils down to is that when you lose those fights, it's to kind of go on to what Sobad was saying is the really, really expensive kits never pay for themselves, like almost ever, unless you're like one of the top teams in the game and you're just farming everybody.
Oh, yeah. I'm the king of wearing piss, dude.
Like when you, especially in normals, you're not getting shit. But that was part of my thing about like
I want to talk about that too.
The gear, when you're dealing with HR, you feel like you want to spend like 50K on this crazy kit because it's going to give you way better chances of winning. But the amount of money that you would make running a 50K kit, you'd have to win like 15, 20 games in a row and get lucky with some good drops in order for it to actually pay itself off versus wearing some shit. But the problem is you can't wear shit because if you wear shit and another team is wearing good gear, you just don't win. Especially if they're playing some really meta fucked up shit like Demon Lock or Druid.
Yeah, but you can win.
Bro,
obviously, at the most,
there's a limit to it.
I win third parties all the time.
Third parties is like freelo. Like even just arriving already, they're like, oh, another team, and they're already in disarray. So I will say that the gear disparity in this game is the best of almost any game I've ever played. Where no matter what they have, especially if they play like shit or they're spawn rushing, my favorite is when they run through a module with, and you guys are saying like you just run through modules, you just jump a wall. There's a lot of points where they do that, and they have so much shit on them. All of us have done this. All right, this isn't like exclusive to bad players. You get caught out. You're like fucking monsters all over you, or you like run into a torch and you're stuck, or like you're between two trees, or like you open the door and they're just standing there and they just put the shield up and you're like, oh, like there's
or you followed
all
your wizard
this
teammates
shit behind me, bro, and like I'm dead. No matter what gear level you are, you've died because PvE in this game,
unless you're a warlock,
unless you're a druid.
Well, okay, there's exceptions, but we've already talked about that.
Yeah,
but my only point is that I feel like despite any of the things that we're talking about from an outside perspective, the game is in like one of its best spots it's ever been in.
If you talk to,
my opinion,
it's I in some ways I agree, in some ways I disagree. Like I think if you're playing low gear solos, there are a couple really obnoxious meta things that are just disgusting and untenable. And as someone who really has played fighter more than any other class, it's just not okay in low gear, and neither is Druid. I think if you ask the really top level players who are just constantly playing in disgusting gear and playing for lots of money all the time, at the really high level, they're also really not happy with the current design and balance of the game. But I feel like everybody in between those two levels is like, this is great. 124 is just fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, 124 is where it's at because it eliminates all the bullshit.
125. When you're playing 125, as long as there's no teams that are like over 300, it feels great. And you sometimes will actually get some really nice loot from people. It's like once you go past those on either end, it just kind of feels like shit. Because in sub 25,
it always comes down to the same thing, right? It always comes down to the Triforce. It's if you're a character, if you're fast, You can deal lots of damage, and you're tanky at the same time. It'll always, I say this all the time, that will always be a problem. That just happens at a certain gear score. Once you hit 400 gear score, all of a sudden your character has 200 HP, 50% PDR, and you can still 3-shot people. And like that will always be a problem no matter what class you're playing. And I think that's very gear related.
Yeah.
And we talk about.
I think we need to try like new gear. I think this is like way too long of a conversation to get into right now, but I think I would love to try just like a whole new gear system, especially because SCF talked about the sockets and shit.
Well, real quick before we move on to another topic, I don't want to get too far away from that map. I do have it pulled up here, Odin, the Giga Forgotten Castle. While we were talking about third parties, what did you like about this particular map design? And before you go into that, can you explain what the top right-hand corner of this Giga Forgotten Castle is? Like the arrow to that image.
I think so. It's kind of hard to see because the size of the image that they sent, but I think they were trying to like show like a broken bridge with like parapet windows and stuff. It looks like a custom module that has multiple levels, which I've always said that I really want more verticality in this game. As long as it's traversable and not just we have high ground, we win kind of situation.
Yeah, as long as you get a druid, that'd be fine for sure.
Yeah, no more cleric for me.
Sorry.
I like this idea because one of the things that we talked about internally in like weekly meetings before when we do our like weeklies where we catch up and all the departments kind of like talk to each other about what's going on and what everybody's working on. And then after that happens, we all end up talking about the game for like another hour and just talking about balance and design stuff. And one of the things that we talked about with last season's HR meta where people felt it was really stale because there was like these 3 hotspots in crypts where everything was happening and it was all about playing specific rotations around third parties. Every single match played the exact same way. Grayson brought up a really good point, which is that all of the modules can get to each other like instantly. So you're never spending any time trying to get positioning. I like this design, and I would almost like to see it expanded even more, where you like intentionally have to go out of your way to get to a specific module instead of just going, I can just go 2 modules left, 1 module down. You're like, I have to go down here and get around on this side if I want to get positional advantage. I can't just cut through.
That's what I think Ice Caves has a lot of. If you like look at the general breakdown of the map, i.e. if you look at the northwest corner of Ice Caves, there's multiple layers. Some of them connect in different ways that force you to go all the way around. It's really awkward. You can't just go from like top to middle to bottom. You have to go to top to bottom to right to down. It's a different pattern in order to connect the same dots. And that's, again, I think Ice Caves is a good map, but I think the PvE is what draws people away from it because they can't do the spawn rushing, which is unusual because I don't know, when we were talking about the third parties and people like chasing each other down, there's not anywhere to go after you've won the fight in Ice Caves. You just get overwhelmed by the PvE. There's just too much of it.
I think as
I
people
don't know if that's
get
the
better,
big gatekeeper though.
I think as people get better and better at the game, they're going to want more of the like instant gratification of the action. And so that's why you're seeing, like, as players have become more confident, the general player base is becoming more competent and confident. You see more of the W keying because they just want to get into the fight. And like to a degree, I understand that, especially when you're playing low gear lobbies. There's nothing at stake, so you just want to go and you just want to bang. But I think that the design makes it really hard to enjoy like higher tier lobbies where you're actually playing with a lot at stake, and having really difficult PvE that you can get forced into that just fucks you when you get third party is kind of unappealing. But I feel like I think it's like a reward problem where you're not rewarded enough for the risks that you're taking for playing on those maps and in the harder difficulties. I think if you were really rewarded for taking the risks of playing there, people would probably do it more. But it just like, I can do a whole HR dungeon from Ruins to Inferno and do everything short of the boss and just get like 1 item that I'm like, yeah, this is all right.
Yep.
And everything else is just shit. It's all bad. I roll a legendary arming sword with magic interaction speed, magic power, magic healing, and regular interaction speed. I'm like, dude, sick. Vendor. That's worth like 90 gold to the vendor, dude. Hell yeah. Yep.
Ken, you were going to talk about normal loot or gear earlier, I think.
Yeah, well, the point I was going to get at too is I think this whole separate HR normal shit is dated. It feels real dated. I think we should just get rid of HR. It should just be 3 gear score brackets, and it should just be good loot in all the brackets. Give people the opportunity to get the gear so they could wear it and then try to progress. Right now, if you're just like a player who plays normals, you feel like you're stuck there because trying to get good gear while playing normals is hard unless you're killing other players wearing good gear, which is also very hard. It's like you have nothing to start from. Like it can be done, but it's way harder than it should be. And I feel like a lot of players are like stuck in normal limbo and don't feel like they can progress. And if they do progress, they're gonna run into, people that have 900 gear score, which is.
So how do you handle mob difficulty?
I think you could difficulty. Maybe you could scale. I don't know, maybe definitely scale boss difficulty, but I think you make the Squire queue 25 minus easy. I think you make it so gear rarity is high in those brackets still, but you keep the trinket rarity low, so you don't get like crazy gold inflation. You get lots of items in the marketplace and in rotation, but you keep the general raw gold going into rotation low in those brackets. But then you get up the trinket rarity in the higher gear score lobbies. Which
I would have said switch it complete 180 then, give them more trinkets and then let them buy the
that's
gear
how you fuck. That's how you fuck your economy.
That's how
the economy's already fucked.
Yeah, but don't fuck more.
Why is the economy fucked?
The economy's great. I think the economy's great right now.
The economy is perfect right now.
Everything is dirt cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah, what's the issue, bro?
That's
everyone.
What's the issue with getting gear? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right now with those poor players.
Right. Okay, so I have to play devil's advocate here because this is like the best the economy has ever been, where a player can wear fucking piss and they can get a skull key from normals Ghost King and they have 50,000.
This is an economy.
So bad. Come on, hold on. The drop rate for a skull key in normals, if you can get past ruins, if you're the average player, you get past ruins, you get to crypts, you decide that whatever quest you're working on, whatever gear you've collected, whatever the status of your team is, you get down to Inferno, and you get that particular variant of Inferno that allows the skull key to drop on that pedestal. For one, I know it can drop from the boss as well. But if you get all the way down there, your percent chance of pulling that is still like what, 1%? So for the average player, they're not running Inferno 100 times a month. I guarantee it.
Okay, I agree with you. However, let's take like half a step back and you kill Ghost King. Ghost King can drop 3 legendary items in normals, and he can drop a GK, and he can drop an SK.
And he'll drop it if you're naked.
And an SK can spawn on the pedestal, and a GK drops from all the champions, and Firefly Abdomen drops from all the golems. You're talking about 8K
it's better than it's been.
That drop when you're in piss.
You played with Squires all day today.
We had a lot of success today.
It took 78 Squires dying on you before you killed one boss.
Today, bro. This isn't today. This is all the Squires of the last few seasons. Today was great. I lost like 5 Squires today, and we killed 3 bosses. And we had PvP, and we got a Firefly Abdomen. Like,
that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm saying that is not the average player experience, and the amount of times that you go down there and just get fucking Warlord is insane. Like, you're still getting
what's
Warlord
the average
half the
player?
Time.
So for me, you're saying the average player. What gear bracket are you going in?
But the average player, I would think, is going either 124 or 25. They're not going.
So it's like
HR.
fucking free for them to walk into the dungeon, but they can get up to like 50K.
I still don't think. I'd love to see the data. I would love to see the data. How many people are going down to Inferno? In my experience, not that many people are actually going down and completing. Certainly in solos, and I'm talking actually solos and duos. I play trios the least out of any game format, but solos and duos, which I think is, Odin, correct me if I'm wrong, still going to be 70% of all games played, solos and duos combined.
I do want to point out though that you are basing this entire argument off of an artificially inflated item that's prices boosted by the RMT market. I think if this is like the whole argument, they could.
My argument is that in this particular game, compared to any other full game I've ever played, you risk the least to potentially always have gains, and everyone's coming in the same stuff for the most part. in under 25s and in under 125s, everyone is in pretty cheap gear, and even if you're in like let's say Ken Nabi, like you spend like 1,000 gold on a 125s, they can still loot a couple chests and have a good chance to beat you. But like, what do they need all the money for? You know what I'm saying? Like, it barely costs them anything to play.
I'm not saying give them money. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying you make sure you keep the money low. I'm saying you make it so gear drops are high rarity, and gear drops are higher, not trinket. I think trinkets are the problem.
The only thing I feel like is when I'm playing normals and I drop in, especially in under 120 or in under 25s, I almost always feel like if we're actually clearing the module and we're looting some chests and I bring in 3 lockpicks, like we always have shit, man. Like at the end of the run, if we survived, like we always have shit. Like we have a bunch of shit. You have like 2 or 3 sets now with Expressmen. You like put a bunch on Expressmen, you empty your inventory, 1 player stays up top.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
When you get all that gear, when you then want to go play plus 125, you are now in open waters against teams that can have 400 plus gear score.
Right.
And you are going to lose to them. If you're running your normal sets and I'm just talking about the average players. If you're running from your kits that you took from Piss to Abyss in a single run or in a couple of runs, as soon as you cross that threshold, you're a minnow in the shark pool every time. And I really dislike that. And to what Ken was saying, I think we need to adjust the gear brackets a little bit. And I almost kind of agree that we want to remove HR, but at the same time, I don't like the idea of removing the threshold of higher difficulty PvE, because there's a non-insignificant number of people who enjoy the PvE challenge and chasing greater heights. And it also conflicts with the sort of like worldless MMO design. So I wanted to bring up that I ran a poll today on the Iron Mace Twitter asking people a very simple question: mobs in arena, yes or no? What would you guys guess without looking at that poll? What would you guess?
I guarantee you the majority of the players want mobs, and because they're all fucking stupid.
I'm guessing
50-50. It was 50-50.
How many votes were we talking about?
It's a small sample size. It was only 2,000 votes, but
that's enough.
To give you I would want to run it like on the launcher or like in client. Maybe make like a poll in the client that people can click on. Yeah, or like a Discord thing. But it's a good sample. It's a good enough sample size to get an idea, especially on a 50-50. Now the actual answers were yes, no, or yes, but change the mobs. 18.9% voted yes. 51% voted no. Yes, but change the mobs was 30.1% of the vote. So basically, 49% of the people said yes, mobs. Most of the people that said yes, mobs want to change the mobs, and the majority were like, get rid of the sub bosses and reduce the number of mobs a little bit, but keep mobs. And 50% of people said, no, we just want to get rid of mobs. When we talk about like these wide sweeping changes, I feel like the majority or the player base is almost always split 50-50 like this, unless it's like a blatantly stupid, broken bullshit problem with the game.
Well, let me argue with you real quick. 80% of the people, 82% of the people, 81 just said that they would change the current state of the game, or the current state of arena rather, right? Looking at that poll another way, 81% of the people said they would like it changed from where it is now, either eliminate the mobs or reduce the density and or remove sub bosses, right? So you do get 80% player agreement on that.
I mean, yes, but there's, like I said, it's the answer was yes, but change the mobs. And that in and of itself feels more like a balance tweak than a sweeping change to the arena. So
basically they want to change the mobs to something that isn't ruining the entire gameplay experience during PvP combat. So then I beg the question, why have the mobs? I guarantee you right now, if I waved a magic wand and tomorrow arena had no mobs in it, I don't think anybody would go in and be like, man, I really wish I had a fucking spiffer mummy up my ass right now. I highly doubt it. Like, oh man, where are these crossbow skeletons sniping me?
You're saying that, but there's statistical proof here that people want it, and I've seen comments from people who say that, and they almost all universally say the same thing, which is that
a lot of people come in my chat and they say they want it, and then I ask them, what do the mobs add? And then they're stuck there with their can, their cock in their hand with no answer.
They're just like, you have a 400 character limit, Ken.
The answer is always the same.
Because they get timed out if they type anything longer than a sentence.
The one argument they have is, oh, dude, it stops the buff balls from just running you down. No, it doesn't. The only team comp that could like just ignore the mobs are the buff ball comp that could just run past them all and stat check you. It's all the arguments they have are just.
I can have an argument for you. The game isn't actual Dark and Darker without the mobs in the arena. That's 9 times out of 10. Clear the mobs, learn how to engage your opponents. Don't just go aping through stuff. If you do, you have the penalty. I think they should be lowered and balanced and tweaked, maybe take off some of the sub-bosses. But yes, the mobs are part of Dark and Darker. Fighting around them sucks, but that's the existence of the PvP aspect of the game. Like
it's
9
meant
times
to be
out
an
of 10.
equalizer.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, the mobs are there in the fucking normal game mode when you're fighting players.
I want to come from the perspective. The mobs help me tremendously.
Yes,
I win.
He's a whiz.
I've been undefeated. I played 30 games the other day. I was undefeated. I won most of my games. I won most of my games because of mobs, and I should not just be getting free wins because I get free chain lightnings. I should not be getting free wins because I could aggro everything and just go and viz and then just kill my opponent with mobs.
On the counterpoint, I'm the cleric. I'm the one that suffers most. I have nothing. Yeah. You fucking invis a fucking sub boss onto me. You're a piece of shit, and I hate you. But that's what you're gonna do. I'm the one that suffers the most from their existence. I agree that it's not something that feels good, but at the same time, I know that they exist.
Arena should be a level playing field. That's what arena should be.
So when you say arena should be a level playing field, the problem again is that you're now talking about if you want a truly level playing field, you have to take gear out of the equation.
I'm cool with that too. That sounds great.
I argue against that. Yeah.
So when I looked at this data, now that we've had this discussion, I said to myself, very early on when we talked about arena, I thought to myself, maybe there needs to be a casual arena where you can bring in gear and there's brackets and there's PvE and it's a little snapshot of the game and you just get to play and it opens up more build viability because certain mobs or certain classes will just mob dump you, or warlocks are a little better in TM and low gear because there's a billion mobs from the life battery off of, or just, in general, Savage Roar is suddenly way more useful now if you're a barbarian because you can go in and create space with it. I'm of the opinion that it might be a good idea if the player base can sustain it, that there is a casual mode where you can have gear brackets, you can take in your minted gear, and then there's a ranked mode, there's no PvE, and you have to play with like a gladiator kit that you build from playing ranked matches that you get points for. And I've had people say the same thing, where they're like, no, if you do that, it's just taking it completely out. But this is 50% of the players want a game mode where it's just equalized PvE or equalized PvP, and there are no external factors, and it's just you versus another team, and you guys are sweating. Is it possible for us to exist in an ecosystem where we have both those things if the player base is big enough to support it, and people are just happy to let each other enjoy those things? Or are people just going to be mad that something exists that they choose not to take a part of?
Open it to free to play.
They have to be mutually exclusive is the question. Why not rotate them? Why not try them both? If the dev time is minimal, and I feel like it should be.
Dev time is not minimal for designing a full system with an arena kit and like making ranked leaderboards.
Well, that's correct. Yeah, like for the gladiator stuff that you're talking about, true. But mob versus no mob, put it on a rotation. Next time we go into arena cycle, day one.
You can even make it random when you queue. You could just have a match where you're. This time you have mobs, and next time
I would like it better to be random. That way you can't be like, all right, I'm going in Viz spec so I can avoid the mobs because it's Tuesday, and now I'm going to go, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of a shitty thing to put on people to be like, oh, okay, I'll just build for training mobs, and then you get no mobs. That's what I like.
I'm saying as a test. I'm just saying the survey is great. Like that, it's awesome that you guys are doing that you did that in particular. But why not test it? At this point, arena is still in its alpha phase.
We don't have a test server.
Okay, I got two things to add here. Is that one, the arena should be a mirror match, regardless of which spawn you have. If we're gonna keep mobs, it needs to be a mirror match. It would be perfect if each team had X champions and X mobs and X whatever. All games with arenas that are anywhere near like good have mirror matches. Like each side can practice perfectly. You can figure out the right rotations, et cetera, et cetera. Second of all, is arena not free? You have to have a legendary account to play arena.
You have to have a paid. And that's why I was very confused why they added the level 20 requirement.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That is two gripes that I've had about arena.
If they want to get minted gear, they're gonna have to go into HR anyway. Like they have to go quest. They have to like actually get the mats. They have to have money, et cetera, et cetera. Arena should definitely be free. I didn't realize that.
I mean, I played I played with Brian and Zab for hours playing with Rondell Wizard with a green crystal ball. My entire kit was from normals, and we won like 90% of our matches.
I have had a ton of fun in the arenas playing any sort of kits and gear level. Like, it doesn't change the amount of fun that I've had.
Yeah,
I just had to it changes how I play with my teammates, but the fun I've had is static through all the games and all the brackets.
Yeah, I have also had fun in arena.
There's already a huge incentive.
It'd be 10 times more fun without mobs.
I think if we did what I proposed with the casual and a ranked mode, you could let the casual mode be open to free to play players, but the ranked has to be, you have to buy the legendary version of the game. And the defense for that is that it's a ranked mode with a leaderboard with an incentive. And if you let it be free to play, people are just going to buy and sell accounts for ranks
and exploit and
cheat
and try to Cheerio queue into each other,
try to win trade
rating. Yes,
I think
we've done the WoW thing. I know
we had
how
a good
it goes.
idea from the chat over here. Pixel over here said just allow free to play arena, but once the leaderboards come out, if you're free to play, you never show up on the leaderboard. You have to.
Yeah, but then they compete with people who are ranking, and it becomes a problem. And it's the same situation with win trading and throwing and.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they can't compete. They can't be together in any format because in some fashion, a free account gets into a match with Repose on the enemy team, or maybe on his team, and he wants to throw it. He's not going to be on the leaderboard. He doesn't give a fuck. But now Repose loses. I know Repose wouldn't queue without a 3-man, but the hypothetical is there.
Not even that.
Interfere in the game just to screw over KD, just to screw over matches.
Not even that. It's just you just go on a free to play account and cheat. And like now, if you're a paid, and yes, of course there are paid accounts that cheat, but it is so much easier to play on a free account that cheats, especially if you don't put in the level 20 requirement and you just let them jump into arena right away. They can just get an account, or they can just get shit traded to them or do drop trading or whatever, and just go in with gear and cheat and just ruin the game for people. So I think,
to be fair, that's all they would be doing is ruining the game.
Limit them to Squire gear, then
they wouldn't be able to damage the economy as badly.
I just think the easiest thing is if we're gonna continue down this path where we have this 50-50 split where people want mobs and people don't want mobs, you make the ranked leaderboard the sweaty PvP where there's no mobs and you have to be legendary account and it's level 20 plus.
I think it is kind of to circle back. I think it is kind of crazy to have that poll though, when like nobody has even played the arena without mobs yet. Like you should have a week with mobs and a week without. I know, but like the data. I mean, you're collecting data that's not good. Respectfully,
I could add to that and say
I think
that there's 90%
to support the case. Sorry, I'm
right.
Well, I think
the point is
as that. Sorry,
enough people want to try it without mobs that we should try it, and then we can collect data again.
I agree, but I also think that a lot of the player base, like we've already discussed, is sub 124s and under 25s, and therefore the PvE is way more threatening. I've gone in and played 10 hours straight yesterday as the 300 or 400 plus gear score. The PvE is just fucking there. Like I'm juiced out in purples. It becomes a less issue, obviously, as your gear score is intensified. And most of the players don't have arena minted bis. Most of the players are playing in sub 124s. The PvE is more threatening in there. So as that curve gets a little bit further into the wipe, I think you'd see maybe a change in the numbers on that poll. But yes, I do agree that PvE, if you want a full PvP mode, that's just the brutalization of each other for the showcasing of death, take the mobs away.
That is what an arena would be.
Yes,
and I think if we did that, you can then also add in all the tertiary stuff that people have asked for, like being able to bet on matches and spectate live matches, and you could just really lean into like the gladiatorial aspects of it.
Yeah, if that's what they want. If we don't want to make something that improves, like I said, it's not necessarily in my mind a direct offshoot of Dark and Darker without the mobs constantly fucking ruining your day, because that's the experience I'm used to in Dark and Darker. That's the literal, that's the Venn diagram. Right now, if we want to have arena over here and Dark and Darker over here, that's fine. But currently we have this overlap, and that's why the mobs exist, to sort of train you for that, in my mind. If we're just going to have that PvP spectacle, I'm fucking for it, man. I can't wait to go in there, show everybody a cleric can blast some people, teach them ways, and just rip the mobs out of the equation entirely and have a skill festival. I'm excited for that. Make that the ranked mode. Give us some kind of like pedestal, kind of like the skull throne, like the skull key on there. Give some kind of an incentive to fight over in the map that isn't PvE related. Make it a chance for a golden key, skull key, rusty key. Make it a fucking hole that's called the key box and have somebody have to fight to open it during the match. Just something to fight over as an objective, but also a cash prize. There's so much you can do with the arena once you've taken the mobs out as well. And we haven't explored any of that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you just said are things that we've tossed around as ideas for like big guild wars too, like the 10v10 stuff. Nothing in an official capacity internally, but just like that we talked about on the podcast. I know people would love to watch that and participate in that. And there's so many ways we could open up the game to do cool stuff like that, but it's player numbers and dev time and shit to do all that. But I don't know. I think to Ken, to your point, yeah, like right now we haven't played Arena without mobs, so the answers for the poll are skewed because people haven't been able to test it, so they don't know for sure whether they would like it the other way.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be mean, but like if you're asking people to do like white chocolate or dark chocolate, and you've only let them try white chocolate, you're not gonna have a good showing on your data.
I mean, only psychopaths like dark chocolate.
You can imagine what an arena is going to be like without mobs by fighting somebody in a single module where the mobs are all dead.
Exactly. I can imagine.
But the point is we can see whether there's enough interest there, and it's literally just a data set. It's like, okay, there's enough interest to try it, then we try it, and then we run the poll again and see what people say. Does the number change significantly? Yes or no? Then we can make decisions based on whether or not it's changed significantly and whether it matches with the game design goals. There's a lot of ways we could go with it, but I just think I thought it was interesting because I, like most other people, expected the majority of people to say they didn't want mine. I was really surprised to see it was like almost 50-50.
Yeah, I think that's like just human nature of people just they have something that's okay and they can't even imagine it being better. They're like, oh, this is fun, yeah. Even though it's like 100% less fun than it could be. Let's keep it. I'm scared of change.
Yes, yeah, like but I said, also I kind of agree with Enboss here. I feel like the mobs is a core part of Dark and Darker, and like the mob aspect of it and the looting aspect of it is pretty like random and crazy and kind of fun. And I could see a world where the arena just works as like Ken wants, just like a 3v3 WoW arena. And then I could see the other aspect where like probably a big subset of the player base maybe doesn't want some, like, in my opinion, based as fuck, some boring ass 3v3 in a box. Like I didn't play WoW arenas. I thought they were fucking boring.
Well, yeah, but like I said, if we lean into it,
Darker as just 3v3 in a box, it also sounds boring. I like the chaos, but I don't play arena. So I'm just saying, from like a casual perspective, if you said should mobs be there or not, I like the mobs there, but I just feel like it should be a mirror match.
I mean,
you see what I'm saying with leaning into it though, like taking away the mobs, but still giving incentivization with like a chest in the middle with more valuable loot.
Yeah,
just like some kind of
I like the loot. I like looting, and the arenas are kind of fun, but.
Like when I tune into arena streamers like Ken and Sequisha and Tony and like Crunk Muffin, these aren't really like your sweat players. Like it's fun to watch them getting like mowed down by mobs or like invis plays or like they're like looting chests and shit. Like it makes it like if it was just 3v3, I would probably never even watch it. Like it's just fighting. I don't know.
I think it's interesting.
I'd watch it more.
I think it's interesting in a tournament and like competitive perspective, and I think there's a certain. Again, I think there's probably half of the player base, maybe more, maybe less, would enjoy watching that shit all the time. There's a reason why people watch League of Legends, even though it's literally just a 5v5.
To argue for mobs, right? So this is something I've said, like as a pro mob argument, is what I would do if I say I had a gun to my head. Nate, you have to find a way to make mobs work in arena. I'm like, okay, arena starts as a countdown. Okay, arena opens, the arena starts. You battle. There's no mobs. As the time goes on, mobs come out of like the spawn rooms where you originally spawn in, and like they force you to fight.
Like and then Coliseum, they're just fucking pouring mobs.
It's like pouring out if like the match goes too long, almost as like a pseudo circle. Like
get rid of the zone and make the mobs the zone instead.
You would get chaos that way. You get all the chaos that you want, but it would punish like stalemating and stuff along that nature.
I like that idea, but now you literally just described Tarkov, and everyone fucking hates the Tarkov arena at the end. Like here comes some scavs. Oh, they're on me.
But now, to be fair, Tarkov is like Instagib Superman.
No, those are guns. Those are guns.
Yeah, that's
but what if a Cobalt army?
Dark and Darker's guns, bro. The Kobolds run over and they snipe you in the head, and you're like pretty much dead. Like it's not the same, but it's no range sometimes.
I would definitely say the Tarkov.
So not melee only mobs. Okay.
The Tarkov those mobs were just like a complete and utter god tier raider, one tap you from across the map, 360 laughing. Like there is no like those mobs. They might as well just fucking kill you in Tarkov when those mobs come out, and they completely swing a match. I cannot for the life of me, that is the single worst design decision in a game that has like been the focus of just competitive integrity. You know what I mean? There's no mobs in Tarkov to begin with.
Are you saying in Tarkov it's
in
like
Arena.
Not cool when the mobs skew the match? You're not a fan of that?
That's it.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
The Tarkov arena is designed to be just a PvP experience without monsters. It's supposed to be a battle of skill, and then at the very end of it, they spawn street sweeper guys that will just completely swing around for one team because they happen to spawn on the other side. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, that definitely feels bad. I've never experienced that in the game that I play.
I'm the one that gets spanked by the mobs. I want to clarify again. I am the guy with the bare red ass getting beaten to death by mobs, and I still feel like if it's going to be an offshoot of Dark and Darker, keep the mobs. If we just want to have that spectacle, lean into it more, give objectives, give more cash out, put a golden key spawn in there you have to fight over. I don't, there's lots of options at removing with just removing the mobs to expand on.
At the same time, the argument for removing the mobs is if you want to fight in the dungeon with mobs, then go play the dungeon.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, at what point is it just like another queue that's the same as playing the game?
Because
I know it's still different. I know it's still different.
Yeah, this is a 3v3. You're walking in, they're there. You buff, you pre-buff.
No third party.
They cannot leave, all that stuff, and so that makes it dramatically different. Also, your specs, right? Like it's PvP, and like you're.
Not bringing undead slaying purify.
Yeah, there's such a limited amount of mobs that you're like, I need BIS stats. I don't need like resourcefulness. I don't need like X or Y, whatever the case is. Also, casually, from a casual perspective, everyone that I've talked to that enjoys Arena that isn't a sweaty player is like, it's nice to get on and dive into Arena for like 30 minutes, and you get like 9 fights or whatever, however many you get, and like then you go to work or whatever.
No, I agree that part's great, but that part will be there no matter what. If there's mobs or no mobs,
Well, if there's no mobs though, and there's no like loot, then like
I mean, there can still be loot with no mobs.
Yeah.
I think I said if we're leaning into the no mobs, we could up the loot. We could create more POIs, chests.
People that are going into Arena to loot aren't looting the mobs. Let's be real.
My thought is that
I'll say for a first iteration, that was a good pass, right? Like Iron Mace does good on first iterations. Like when they were like, we're gonna get Arena, I was like, fuck, I wonder what this could be like. It sounds kind of horrible. And I'm like, okay, like that's actually neat. They basically took Dark and Darker and they made it an Arena. And then same thing with Expressman. They were like, we should have an Expressman and we should have insurance. And I'm like, these are neat features and they like kind of work. And so like I get where you're coming from, Ken, with like the no mobs thing, and like maybe ranked has no mobs, but yeah.
On another sort of topic and how Arena actually impacts the game, we never touched on this, but Arena has drastically also impacted the economy. Like the crafted item BIS rolls, like those fucking normal, like Firefly Abdomen. I mean, obviously it's for the quest too, but they're still steady around 4,000 gold for crafting Lightbringer for Arena BIS.
A little more than that.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like you've gotten gold gear, you've gotten Dark really Matters that I've sold for 14,000 gold because people are waiting to craft the new tunic or they want to craft the Void Blade. It's crazy that the impact. I like that. I actually like that on the distinction of how that's made, because it even feels valuable. Like I don't feel like I'm pissing away 4,000. I mean, I fucking play this game too much, but I don't feel like I'm pissing away 4,000 gold to try and craft a legendary Arena BIS piece. Like that's just what I'm supposed to go for. That's my end game now. That's my repetitive grind every day. I'm sitting here right now. I'm logged in. I've been crafting Grimmies while we've been doing this. I'm just saying, once every 30 minutes, just slapping out a Grimmie. Like the whole thing for me is now the Arena BIS grind. So I do like that idea, and I think that the Arena's impact on the economy has been positive for everybody.
Yes, agreed.
Also, on Arena, this is like an actual good idea that like you should write down, and they should do this 100%. There should definitely be a tab like Squire, where you can just put your minted gear. All of your minted gear is in a Squire tab, and you can just make your presets.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I think that's probably not going to happen.
Squire?
I think that's not going to happen until. I think that's probably not going to happen until player housing, because then we're gonna like that was one of the things I've talked about was getting like the paper dolls in your house that you can put your kits on. And you just snap it on whenever you want it. That's genius. I think designing with the idea of player housing coming at some point, and like it being a focus sometime in the near future, designing a UI part of the game to make up for that in the meantime is probably just what they would consider wasted time.
I think there could be easy band-aid fix that is just an additional stash tab that is only for minted gear looted by you on your character. That's
a good idea.
Who knows how much work that would be to make, but I agree. That'd be cool to have.
But now is it one for each character? Maybe it's a quest unlock that comes with the Tavern Master. You get that normal stash tab and a bonus or something, because I don't know. That's a lot of extra space.
Here's what I think we could do.
Minted gear, and it's like a tab with cross swords. You can literally only put minted gear in there, and I think it would be fine. Just a half tab.
Here's what I think you could do. If you were going to create that, instead of it being the squire, so the Roman, the Roman gladiatorial like captain, the chief that ran the Colosseum and like scheduled the show matches was called a Lannister, and they were the one that would like equip the gladiators and stuff. You could put a Lannister as a NPC in the game, and then in addition to him being able to like hold on to your kit and like let you just throw it on when you want, he also sells like
arena potions
put a currency that you can only get from arena, like arena tokens or whatever that you get from winning matches.
Consumables, or
so make it just for
just
make it for consumables for potions, bandages, throwables, and shit. So you're not spending gold that you take into especially because if you buy a bunch of consumables and you lose those. So I think
unless they're minted. I got my minted troll's blood.
That's true. Okay. You'll never lose it unless you use it.
All right. Well.
Oh, really? I didn't know that worked like that.
Yeah. Same with surge kits. If you find them, bring them in. Really cool. They're minted to you. So,
but just something you could buy shit from.
I like what you're saying, Odin, and I like the connection. So I like how NBoss established that right now there's a really cool connection with the game and the economy of trying to spend to get your minted. And so that makes the dungeon delving fun. And like when I get a Firefly Abdomen, I'm like, sweet, man, I hope they get the Lightbringer they want. I just made, 7K or whatever. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have your arena tokens, like 1 for a loss and 3 for a win, whatever the case is. I think you could do a lot with that. You could do a luck potion that instead of 50 to 150 is like 70 to 170. It's something small, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do arena a little bit tonight, and I'll get some like arena luck potions that I can bring into the actual dungeon. It's like things like that are cool. Where it's a minute difference, but it actually does encourage you, right? The bridge between the arena and the game is the important piece that I think Tarkov is lacking. And so for our game, it's like you dungeon delve for minted to go to arena to get arena points to get like a little bit of things to bring into the dungeon, and so then it's connected. But it's not something where casual players are like, I have to do this. They're just like, oh, it'd be cool if I used like my last 4 days.
Yeah, I like the minting system.
A bonus luck potion to take into the dungeon.
Now, just to add to the conversation, I kind of curious how you feel. I know how I feel about minted items not being account wide and being character specific. I think that drives me insane personally. I've like nothing feels worse than me playing on my cleric, going to kill Ghost King, and then I get this sick piece of wizard bis that it's gone. It's wasted. It's wasted on my cleric.
It does feel so. It does feel really
It doesn't
bad.
feel great. I crafted a Grimmy on my bard because I didn't want to wait, and it was great for my cleric, but I'm not going to wear that into arena. So that's why I stopped, and I made sure to always craft them on that character in particular. But with the account-wide affinity, it is a little bit easier, but like you said, playing a specific character and getting a reward for another character doesn't feel good. But I understand why it is the way it is. If they change it, I'm for it as well, because again, I play a lot of fucking cleric. I have tons of bis for every character, but I don't really play any other characters, so it's mostly all cleric stuff that I'm hanging on to. So I don't have that much of an impact.
I'd like it to be able to maybe what you could do is we could add a function to the arena token thing where you can like pay a certain amount to remint an item to your character, but only if it's looted by your account.
That's not bad.
That'd be something. It's not a bad. It's just something. Yeah.
That's not bad, dude. If you got to do like 2,000 arena tokens and it remints,
sure,
that actually does connect
in there.
So then if you actually then if you find a piece of gear on one of your other characters that you're like, this is fucking perfect for my character, then you got something to work for.
The only thing I don't like about that is like when you're in a 3-man, it's obviously easier to move and share gear. That's why 3-man's is like the easiest for minting. So you can
need before greed, baby.
Yeah, and so now you have the thing where you're like, oh, I got look what the Lich dropped. It's a minted arena fucking bis wizard hat. And you're like, I got a lot of arena points. I think I should have that, and I'll just remint it for my wizard. And your wizard's like, oh, hello? Like,
not everybody plays with so bad strange. Some people do give up.
Need before greed. Need before
greed.
Well,
no, then you just like you bid your DKP, and like whoever has the most DKP.
Okay. Yes. You go to guild chat and you're like, I need.
You could make wait, hold on. You can you can make item. You could do like some new trade thing where you can like you guys can only use tokens to like roll need in the dungeon for an item.
It's for my ult. It's for my ult, dude. Okay, I do.
Why do I see it on the market so bad?
This actually is a good bridge.
Why do I see it on the market?
Okay, well, my thought process is that I would sell it and I would use the money to buy the mats to craft something similar to be minted.
So you needed it.
So I needed it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I played WoW. I know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
To the point, I just went through another. Every once in a while, me and my buddy go through a stint where we play Tibia for a little while. We like start new characters and do a run until we get bored. And one of the things I do, they designed that game to make it as pay to win as possible and to encourage you to pay as much as possible. So it gets really boring around like level 100. But one of the things I have always really liked about that game is that they created this system called imbuements, where like you can enchant your weapons with these really powerful things like life leech and mana leech and crit damage and stuff like that. But they require creature products that drop from monsters, and a lot of the creature products that you need drop from low level monsters that higher level characters cannot be bothered to go and kill because it's just a waste of their time, because they could just pay somebody else to get those products for them. And it makes these like somewhat frequent, still kind of rare drops worth a shit ton of money to the low level players who are trying to buy all their gear and level up and afford like potions and stuff for hunting.
Kind of like wolf pelts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And now with the minted crafting system, you now have the Firefly abdomens and shit. It's like any player could get. I like this idea so much better than golden keys and skull keys, and I wish those items were fucking bind on pickup and you had to actually use them in the raid.
Been saying that.
God damn it, I hate them. I hate the skull key market. I hate that shit.
I fucking love that shit. Please don't change that. I changed my mind, bro. Fuck that.
Yeah, I
don't want to go gamble on the goddamn skull door for a piece of shit purple. I want to sell it for 50K and know I get 50 kits. Please don't change that.
Make the
I mean, it's not my choice.
Yeah.
It's not my choice, but the problem with it is the problem with it is combating the RMT game is incredibly difficult.
Bro, it's paying me off so much. Every time I want a Fulgor, I know I'm gonna get RMT fucking skull keys for that thing.
Nobody's arguing that So Bad wants the gold. We all know that So Bad and his little red
I want
fingers are going to claw
I'm a Lannister
through
at heart.
those.
I'm a Lannister. Don't take my skull keys away or my G keys.
Your house got exterminated. I wouldn't want to be a Lannister.
If it becomes bind on pickup, you better make the drop rate in those dumb piece of shit key rooms 1,000 times better.
Yeah,
those are dog shit.
Dude, almost
risk versus reward.
So many people internally have said the same thing that we all wish. We all wish artifacts were way more common. We wish that people actually got to play with them, because 99% of the player base never gets to play with artifacts.
Right.
And they're going to continue to never play with artifacts because you never see them and nobody fucking plays HR.
Yeah. Well, the unique mobs, the named mobs, are a step in the right direction.
Yes,
I watched Anugi do the hunt for what was it? Frostweaver, I think, is the name of the spider mob that drops the tangle thread trousers. It took him. I think the occurrence or appearance rate of that mob is supposed to be like 0.5%. Is that right for pretty much all of them? It's like 0.5.
They were supposed to. They were supposed to have
jacked up my freaking
Ken.
Ken.
I think you might have crashed.
I'm sorry, no, my webcam unplugged.
Oh. I was gonna say I just found the oozling. I queued into a random trio to help out some newbies. Which, by the way, oh my god, they were the most precious little double barbarian squad, and they were the little crouch spam after I give them an item was the greatest joy. But literally spawned in, took 2 steps, killed the oozling, and got a green necklace, and I wanted to promptly end my fucking stream.
Man. Yeah, so Anugi, it took him 212 tries. He kept count. 12 hours, 212 tries. He completely optimized for ice caves, going straight to the 3 spider room in the northwest corner. 212 tries later, he saw Frostweaver, and he actually got Tingle Threads on the first try. But
when we say northwest corner, you mean on the ice caves?
50-50 to get the artifact, though. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
here's a question.
The drop rate is fair, but is that
how did he do 200 fucking runs, bro? Like, what are we talking about?
Tries?
How could he have done 212 and 20?
The boat. He'd run straight there and then he'd
just die.
If he
you just die. You don't leave.
Suicide.
Oh, bro, the stat lines on this are insane. That could have been like 5,000 runs if he's going to one spawn.
Yep, the northwest corner.
No, that's the
it's
point.
Harpies and HR, right?
He was on record.
Though. That's cool.
For 12 hours, if in 12 hours he did 200, it was 211. I said 212. It was 211 raids in 12 hours to get that mob to appear one time. And it's possible that he didn't get the drop, and then it would be another 212. So you could literally play the game for a full day straight and never see a unique mob.
That's 3.4 minutes.
I played way more. Yeah. I played way more than just that amount of time, and I just found my first one fucking yesterday. I've been playing since wipe, and I'm mostly target farming them. If I'm in the area, I'm checking every single one of those. I have not seen shit.
Same.
And I just happened to spawn next to one.
I haven't seen a single one.
Just go buy that on the auction house for like 2K.
Since we're talking about this level of gear.
I know minted, but I know you guys want it minted or whatever. But it's funny when I look at the artifacts and I'm like, the thorn shield's like 500 gold.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're talking about the value of this gear and the frequency of it, and you guys were both saying or everybody kind of agrees we need to buff the guaranteed loot if we're gonna make keys soulbound, which 100% on board for that. Do you think it's a good thing that if you look at, and I'm talking about we're not even Timmy's, but I'm talking average all the way up to the 70th percentile of players over the course of a season will never even run a full legendary kit because the loot is so infrequent that they just never see it. Is there what is the point of having gear up that high, and especially all the way up to artifacts, if most players just never even use it or touch it because it's just so so valuable that it's not worth using?
Somebody's gonna say they could farm money and buy it off the marketplace. They could do that, but it is way more satisfying to play the game, loot boxes, kill mobs, kill bosses, and use the gear that you acquire. It's so much more satisfying. It feels good. It's a huge dopamine hit when I open a Lion's Head and I get an item that's usable. That's a great feeling.
I've gone back to the naked runs because because of that feeling. Lately, my joy's been stifled.
You're gimping yourself.
I'm literally. I will go into HR with a fucking 2 purple warmalls and a recurve just so I can bypass the requirement, go in naked, and have fun there because it's that whole experience, like you said, looting. That's the gameplay loop. I think the best gameplay loop was in the normals with 25s, going in, collecting upgrades, getting dopamine hit 1, taking upgrades, getting maybe a blue weapon off of the Wraith. Now you're a dominant force going through and PvPing, and it feels good. That's the gameplay loop that I like. I like the Diablo 2 discovery of the loot. Then I like the PvP. I like every aspect of diving through the dungeon and then taking that gear. Now that I've wiped the dungeon, I want to go kill the boss and see if I can get a golden key, a skull key, or hit the pile for a bag. Those are the dynamic loops that I enjoy most. But that's me as a player. I know some people like to bring in their full biscuits, run through HR, immediately W key into squads. It's however you like to play the game. Some people like to jump on the rooftop, wait for an entire module, and then pick up scraps and go to the next. That's just, I want them to have those options.
Right. No, I'm with you. Okay. I agree completely that sub 25 is maybe the most enjoyable because of that aspect alone. You're finding the gear that you can use that's going to increase the quality of the raid that you're in. And it just feels better, like Ken said, to find your own gear. It just does for most people. But Iron Maze Terrence has talked in the past about tweaking dials, and we all have lamented multiple times about how they went to extremes when they were tweaking dials before. This is one dial where I would be more than happy for them to go overboard and tweak it. If right now the data says that, Odin, like you were saying, 1 to 2% of the player base, maybe at tops it's 3%, gets to use the top tier gear, let's tweak the dial so it's the top 10% of the player base, right? And
I'm not even talking about I'm not even talking about a 50k kit here. I'm talking I'm talking you go into the raid and you loot a couple of legendaries and most of them aren't that good, but they're legendary items. Or maybe you've killed your 10th HR boss and you have an artifact instead of killing 50 of them in a week and not seeing an artifact, and you play the entire season, you finally see one, and you go, well, we can't use this, we got to sell it because we're never going to get the economic return on this. Here's the super cool weapon that they designed that no one's going to play with.
Yep.
I just don't, I get it I understand so bad is I'm just going to sell that weapon and have so much fun with my 50,000 kits. For every person that is satisfied with that, there's a ton of people who are I just want to run a cool fucking super sick kit of legendary gear and maybe some uniques. That would be fun.
Why do they want to run that?
Players, because it's there and it's the highest tier shit to do.
Because they haven't done it yet.
Exactly. So fucking stay poor. It gives them something to want to achieve, dude. I'm gonna get a hot take here, right? If you make things common, it makes them fucking boring. And when I go to loot someone, they have a bunch of shit dog tier legendaries. I'm done looting in the game. It was like the season. It was one day. Iron Maze sped every chest. a fucking treasure trove. The Royals had like 1,000 things in them, and we were like, let's go, look at all this loot. By the end of the day, I was like, I'm not looting people anymore. Like, gear doesn't fucking matter. Like, I loot a Royal and I get 80 things. So when you make things common, it makes them boring. It is nice to have the pinnacle because people want to get on Twitch and they want to look at the streamers and be like, how the fuck does this kid have 7 artifacts and 7 F keys? Things like that are really awesome.
They swipe the credit card.
You brought down this little thing called unique monsters, and you made them rare, and then you slightly made them less rare, and then you added minor artifacts. Now the casual player can achieve minor artifacts and pretty decent gear, and the top tier players achieve the top tier gear. And the other players, it's a cycle, all right? They start at 25s, they get pissed, they go to 125, they start to get better. I don't know what above 125 is. I feel like that queue should be removed. We won't dive into it. I think it should just go to HR after that. Like 25s, 125s, HR. But regardless, eventually you get through the learning curve and you go to HRs, and now every chest has shit, dude. Like, you guys always say you do a dungeon, you don't get anything. I walk through one HR dungeon, I'm like, look at this BIS, bro. Like, I can't play normals. Normals is dog shit. Like, look at this fucking lion's head. It's got a legendary in it now. Look at this marvelous chest. There's 2 side by side and they both have legendaries. Like, HR has so much loot, and for me it's exciting. Don't make it more common.
I wish I was having that experience, because goddamn, I never see fucking anything worth
Get better at HR, bro. Make it through all the way to
I clear HR all the time. It just doesn't get me anything.
On the counterpoint, I did a lot of normals. I've been doing the nakeds. I've been running through. I find lots of legendary treasures, like high tier treasures, all throughout the crypt. Like, I'm getting a ton of treasures. I don't get the gear equivalent, but the treasures are definitely there. Like, I'm making money. The treasures are arguably the same as HR. I think they're very close. I've looted 2 purple water pots and 1 blue gem out of 1 single lion's head, but it's not gear. It's not looting a single skull key or 1 single golden key or 3 on-rolled purple spear that's, like 2,000 gold. It's all it's like thinking in nickels and dimes versus thinking in fucking cash mountains. I agree that that's the biggest difference between the two.
I'm not saying, and to your point, SBS, I'm not saying put it back to where you open a chest and there's 900 legendaries overflowing constantly, because it does completely diminish the enjoyment once you get to a point where it's just like you're just constantly looting fucking rainbows of glorious shit. It gets very boring, and it's like, to Kent's point, it's dopamine overload, and eventually you just get sick of it. It's just the new normal, and if you ever have to go back to the way it was before, it sucks so much worse. But I do think that there's room to improve, and the one thing that I wish we would do is, right now the game feels like it has been being increasingly more designed around solo, because it's easier to do your quest solo, and you make way more money when you're playing solo. It is way easier to make friends with people when you're solo, because you don't have to convince 3 people not to fight. You only have to convince 1 person. And all of this to say that we don't scale the loot from duos and trios. So if you play as a party, you are not getting more loot. You're only killing more things to get more loot.
Yeah, let's keep those solo players down. Now we're talking. Wait a minute.
Wait, what?
Wait a minute.
No,
hold
on. I'm not talking about nerfing solo loot. I'm not talking about nerfing solo loot. I'm talking about buffing. I'm talking about buffing trio loot.
If we're doing that, let me back in trios as a fucking solo.
What? No, fuck you. We don't want a million rats for... Okay, I'm cool with solos, and just for everybody, because I know there's gonna be a million fucking comments from people. What, this guy fucking his take on solos? I'm not on the dev team. I don't get a say in this. I just give feedback. But if we're gonna let solos back into trios, you have to remove solo queue. Go away. Goodbye, solo queue.
Okay, I'm gonna come in hot here, and I'm gonna say, why would trios possibly need more loot than solos? When in trios you just share the loot amongst your team, you have an infinite looting curve. And you don't only clear 3 times faster, you clear 100 times faster, because someone's opening the doors for you. Someone's scouting and someone's clearing. Synergy. Or you're all clearing. The synergy.
As opposed to what? Making friends and solos, and everybody just plays fucking
solos is like this.
Care Bears solo.
Solos is like this, right? It's like, I gotta kill 1 mob, and then I gotta heal with a bandage, and I gotta look around. Like, I'm always in danger here. This is not great. I'm gonna maybe open 1 chest. Hold on.
I
heard something, bro. I heard something.
I play solos. That's not my experience.
There's like 15 teams.
But then sometimes I turn on your stream and there's 6 of your fucking viewers sitting around going, look at all my cool loot. Hey, let's go over here and open these chests together. Let's all go make $1 billion gold and ruin the market.
That is abnormal, all right? That is abnormal.
I see it happen a lot.
Normal solos is there's like 14 people somewhere in this dungeon, and possibly they are all my enemy. That's way different than trios. The trios, you have like 3 teams. You're all sweating, sure, but like, bruh, you control trios. If like
trios, you know everyone is your enemy.
In trios, you control it. Like you kill 2 or 3 teams, and you're like, map. Solos, I'm like, I don't know, bruh. There could be a rogue fucking anywhere. There could be a ranger trap anywhere. Like I'm creeping. It's like playing Detective Clue.
But also, if you are alone on those lower floors and you're playing a fast class that can clear and get to chests, like for example, a rogue, you can make so much fucking money. It's unbelievable. You just clean house. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But I also think they're just getting X'd out. Like the raids that they're clearing house. But a lot of raids, I think they're just getting X'd off the map. I kill all the time lately. I kill rogues that have no, like they don't have mic. I try to be friendly. I kill them, and all the time, only this wipe. This is the first wipe I've ever seen this. Like 33% of the players that I kill are just in a full luck kit, like 300 to 500 luck, and it's actually really interesting. I'm like, look at this little double jumping rogue, this little like fucking
and his name is like Zhao Wang 73.
Yeah, it's Hui's way, dude.
There's a reason why they don't respond, but I've like goaded some of them into
their mic's actually on. Their mic is on actually.
I had one guy just like outright, he's like, I'm China, and I'm like, no English. I'm like, oh, hey, buddy, that's fine. Oh, I mean, thumbs up emote, run away.
I will say the other thing that I get a lot, and not for me, but like my chat and whatnot, the consistent comments is that EU is a fucking bloodbath and Osh is a bloodbath. And so
I don't have that on EU.
Like, I mean, we speak one language, so there is this like friendly factor and sort of like this back and forth. And I will say we don't have the Tarkov vibe. People are friendlier and darker, and they betray you less, in my experience, than Tarkov. Where Tarkov, people are like fucking masochists, man.
Tarkov taught me to make sure that
take this battery. I just headshot you, you idiot. You went for that battery. You're dumb.
Yeah,
that's like that happened way more often.
VoIP was added pretty late into Tarkov's cycle, so like once VoIP exists, like there was zero friendly communication in that game until VoIP existed.
And by then, people were already jaded and like scarred.
But the luck gear and all those people, they're all over the place. I don't think we need to buff trios loot. I agree with SoBad on that. Everybody's clearing quite fast enough. There's no need. Plus, they're sharing loot. Resources are easier. One thing I would like to. I think it'd be cool if they took the under 25 lobbies and gave it like a 15% loot buff. It gives it such a good, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the normal under 25 lobbies having more loot than the 124s isn't a bad idea in my head. I think it'd be more fun to give people items to equip, upgrade, and go through that dungeon and kind of give them a streamlined experience.
Oh, I think more loot, more good as long as it's items.
Yeah, I just like the upgrading, the upgrading feel.
Spot.
Yeah, I agree. Too much.
I can be wrong. Yeah, I can be wrong here. Like I always say, if it's better for the player base, I'm probably going to be for it. I just think right now, in my experience as a higher tier player, the loot is really good across both normals and HR, and the requirements to get into most of the dungeons are heavily outweighed when you're playing at even like a 35% extraction rate because of Expressman, because of like a lot of new POIs and loot. Only ruins. I'm only talking about ruins here. Ruins, Crypts, Inferno. Those 3 maps are covered in loot, and a lot of it is.
I think it's very easy to say that as like the top 1% of players, right? But as someone who has probably played over 1,000 autofill matches in like the past month, like I'm in there with the peasants. I'm saying like what the average player experiences. I'm playing with so many different people every day, and like people are broke. People are fucking broke. They need a little stimulus. They really do.
Trios all the time, especially if you're playing autofill trios. Your survival rate and getting out with decent stuff that you can use.
Probably like 3%, man. They die a lot.
It is so low because, like,
when you do make it out, it doesn't make it for 7 losses. Like you lost 7 times to make it out once. You know,
but like you lost nothing. I don't get it. You lost nothing.
Time.
They lost time,
bro. Build wealth.
These are people who don't play 12 hours a day.
I understand that,
but they lost their day. They cost them a day of their life.
Here is what I will say on that regard. Only very short is that when I play Tarkov, or I play Arena Breakout Infinite, it costs to go in, and you were almost always against players that vastly outcost you. So here we have gear brackets, and it is very hard to outcost players in an under 25 bracket. They have a fucking necklace or a ring. It's whatever. You loot, it's fine. What, like, if they're not losing money, why aren't they extracting? It can't be a gear thing.
Because in under 25, they're dying.
Is not an excuse to increase loot. That is a skill issue.
Here's the thing, and this is
that is actually a skill issue, though, right? Like we say that all the time. For both. This is
somewhat related. This is somewhat related, and I want to say once again, because I always keep the chats open, so this podcast is great because we have so many different perspectives, and we disagree with each other. Nobody is inherently right, and I need people to understand that are watching the podcast right now that when we go off the air, we're not sitting here like, dude, what the fuck was that?
No, absolutely.
How the fuck did you even have that stupid opinion? Right. We're just disagreeing. That's it. But
some of it is just for fun. Like some of the devil's advocate stuff is whatever. Yeah.
To the point of the sub 25 thing, this is something I explicitly said to SDF is that as much as we need to improve the new player experience, and that's a big like buzzword within the community, what I think is even more important than new player experience is having proper matchmaking that keeps Ken Kenobi out of Timmy's lobby. Ken Kenobi should not rock up and shit on you naked with a fucking torch when you're brand new to the game, because it will just make you pissed off and not want to play. When you're brand new and you're blinded by the glory of the game, sometimes you can overlook those things. But when you're like a newer player and you really still are trying to learn, and a bunch of experienced players are in your low gear lobbies twinking on you with their skill and just shitting on you in ways that you could never hope to combat when you're new to the game, it is a huge detractor.
So I always tell the new players, like, if you just want like a free, like easy gameplay experience where you get tons of loot, just go play a jar, bro. Get out of my fucking 124 lobby. That's the unofficial arena.
They can't anymore because they need 225 to go there.
124 is the unofficial arena, bro. Okay,
but come to HR with 4 purple battle axes, and I promise, me and my 9 cats will take you bossing.
So active
10 of you will die.
To support this, Activision turned off skill-based matchmaking for Warzone a while back. There was a test. They did it silently. They didn't tell anybody. They turned off skill-based matchmaking because everybody there was this big fucking argument for a long time where people are like, skill-based matchmaking sucks and it ruins every game. It makes every game
is an argument.
It makes every game sweaty and shitty and terrible. So they turned off skill-based matchmaking, and everyone fucking hated it for the weeks that it was off.
For what game?
Warzone. For Warzone, and I think for Call of Duty as well.
That's a game where it makes sense to have skill-based matchmaking, though.
No,
I mean Warzone's a BR.
No, I agree with Odin here. Ours is a BR, and you should not be in new player lobbies, Ken, and neither should I.
Ours is not a BR. I'm not in new player lobbies. I'm in low gear lobbies. They're not new player lobbies.
Those are the same,
But you are.
You are.
No,
I'm not saying new players are there with us.
I'm not saying it's your fault for going in there, because you should be allowed to play that game too. But the game should be designed in a way where you don't get matched with those people, because they're just not going to learn anything against you. They're just going to be fucking frustrated.
I disagree.
The skill-based matchmaking thing that happened. Well, that's fine, and the Sherpa thing is great for that reason. But the skill-based matchmaking thing that happened with Warzone was a perfect example of why people think they hate skill-based matchmaking, because it forces them to play against people
I'm losing like 20k a day just playing 124s, bro.
That's because you troll and you play random shit.
I'm Robin Hood out here. I'm giving
the thing I'll say about this is that when you have, I also do like random stuff with squires and whatnot. I will say it must be hard to learn, because there are teams, but this is what I'm saying, in like the pipeline, there's like a pipeline of learning. But when you have your brand new players who come into like a 24 lobby and they just get ran the fuck down, like there is a team 200 hours ahead of them, and they're finally at the point where they want to boss. And in order to successfully and safely learn to do Inferno bosses, they must spawn rush ruins and eliminate all other teams. So those other teams, like a lot of the time there is a team and you see it, like the kill feed is just them. And they just fucking hammer out all the random matchmaking teams. They're like, sweet, map. And so, like, I wonder if what Odin's saying is, like, should they have a PvE lobby, or should they have, like, if you're under 100-hour account, you can play here, but then we have, like, the smurfing problem that we've had in the past or whatever. So, like, I think it's a hard problem to solve. But, like, games like Tarkov don't have this, right? Like, you spawn in,
And how many people have you heard that say they played Tarkov?
People run over and headshot me, and I'm like, that sucks, but I want to be that. So like, I'll go again until I get there. And like, I think Dark and Darker does a better job of that loop than, let's say, Tarkov.
I will never be sold on seamless matchmaking in Dark and Darker. Sorry.
I agree with that too. No,
unless it's arena.
We need.
I think just for new accounts,
experience. We need more NPE.
Yeah.
I think just for new accounts, there needs to be some way to prevent. Because God, dude, I can't tell you how many times I literally, and everyone in this call has said the same thing. Dude, I feel so bad killing that guy. That guy was literally like, this is his first ever game at Dark and Darker, and now he hates his life. It's like just for new accounts for people to learn. This was my whole point, was that yes, we need a better new player experience that teaches you how to play the game and more more about how the mechanics work and how to take advantage of the various systems. But all that doesn't mean very much if you're thinking about all that and you're getting run down by a top tier team that's just playing in a low gear lobby. If there's a small window of separation where you get to learn the game after you've taken in all this knowledge.
Well, I mean, we had that. We had that, and Sobad ruined it. Yeah, Sobad ruined that. I remember that.
What?
Yeah,
I'll admit it, dude.
We have the new player lobbies where you can, from level 1 to 20, you queue against other people leveling their accounts.
And then he brought in the Fulgor and Kumas, I believe it was. And
yeah, but if you're level 1 to 20, you create a new character and you can just.
Bro, I agree, dude. I said it before. You made the lobbies so you couldn't come in with fucking traded gear and you had to be under level 15. And I had gear traded to me, and I went in there and it was fucking awesome. I had artifacts for 6 hours, and I fucking shit on them. They sucked. It was great.
So you have two dynamics.
I had an Aegis. I was sending their fireballs back. It was fucking awesome.
Terrible person.
The problem comes in if you give people really those lobbies.
It was awesome, dude.
If you give people free lobbies, like I can propose the perfect solution. Oh, brand new account, brand new player. First 10 games, it matches you with brand new accounts, brand new players. But that still creates the, oh shit, well, make a new account, make a new character, farm up the stuff, trade it off.
That's happening.
Like you have to.
As you guys think.
I'm just saying it will. If there's an avenue, the players are going to abuse it. The Chinese farmers, the gold farmers, wherever region they might be hailing from in China, they are fucking doing that, and they will do that, and they
have
will
use it. 25, make it normals only. That's
I'm just saying
that,
and they will still get the loot out.
No way. And when they kill that account, they haven't amassed enough wealth to do anything. You don't even have
it was
all
free.
Your freaking perks.
No, they have, because it was free, and because you only need a key to get wealth. Like if you think of the fact that like an SK, let's just say an SK is $20. I don't know how RMT works. They run a free account in a noob centric area, and they're all they're doing is farming SKs. They just
I'm just on both sides of that coin. I agree that we should have a queue specific to that. I think it'd be great to give people. Yeah, but it's free. Maybe, they'll just make another one. Like they keep like.
I mean, what if those new player lobbies?
It doesn't matter.
What if those new player lobbies you can't get shit like a Skulky, and we just make it so
that's
yes. I like this conversation because we're leading where I always go with the PvE lobby. There should be a PvE lobby that you get.
I wouldn't be against that.
You get 1 ticket a day, and you can save up to 3 tickets a week. All right, so like if you don't play for a week, you log in, you have 3 tickets. You can go into the PvE lobby, and it can only drop blues. That's all it can drop. But it teaches you to boss. There's like an NPE squire at the bottom of the screen that's like a little freckle-faced bitch, and he's like, "Hey, adventurer, you should go to these modules. It's where the high loot is. It's the Lich. Here's his 3 mechanics." Like
the Grand Wizard has created a magical simulation of the dungeon for you to experience.
Let's go. But like,
or hear me out. What if we just add the Lich to the arena? All right, and you just try it out there.
Don't tempt me, bro.
Take mobs out of the arena, put the Lich in the arena. Fuck you.
Okay, both teams are just rotating, all right, so they don't get hit by anything.
I do like that though, and
we're practicing third parties
into each other.
Like I think that the first 10 matches you should not ever have to have a Ken Nabi either on your side or against you. I agree. If you're a brand new player, the things that you're going to learn are going to be so negligible because you need more time spent in the dungeon, right? You need to go into that dungeon and survive longer. Like maybe in those magical PvE dungeons we discussed, you also start with a blue kit of Squire gear that disappears and doesn't go anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like you could start them off a little bit stronger, give them something to work towards, give them goals to achieve, learn, and get something for it.
Are we doing a cutscene where Are we doing a cutscene where they're the hero and they're made of gold and they are God and they just
like you could give them a little bit
and
of
then
juice,
the Grim Reaper takes away all their gear like
lobby. That was Alucard and Symphony of the Night. That was a great moment.
My point was that there's a lot of games that do that, where they just start you off as like the god, and then you get all your shit taken away, and you go back to being a little bitch.
But like for Arena Breakout Infinite, it took the Tarkov experience and it made it a lot more intuitive for me, because they take you through like a quasi cinematic experience.
I actually liked ABI's intro. I thought it was good.
Right?
They did have a good intro.
It kind of teaches you how to loot and to shoot and whatnot. And then like the cinematic ends and it's like, now you're in the game. Here you're into, you like, it forces you. It's like you must solo queue, and you solo queue and it puts you into a duo queue. So you're with some other like brand new fucking noob, and you move through the map and you're only against the other brand new noobs or bots.
Yep.
And at the end, like you'll get one free match, dude. One free match. And
people were so surprised when we've talked about marketing partners, when they're like, "Oh, so how many bot matches do your players get?" We're like, bot matches?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that."
Yeah.
They're like, "Really? In this day and age, no bot match?"
It's hard to do that in our game though. Like, how would the bots survive? Holy shit.
I did.
Just have the bots be
I guess
NPCs,
they're like Naraka Blade
they're,
Point. Yeah, they're just like idiots and they're like dying on traps and
just make them all rangers that have crossbow skeletons in the game. That's fine.
Yes, to be fair, the crossbow skeletons are arguably 10 times more dangerous than any new ranger player is going to be in those lobbies. So yeah, that dynamic is there. But like I said, if you put them in the under 25s and you put them together with other noob players, that they get to experience combat that lasts more than in half a second, as Sweaty Boy goes in there, fucking Morningstar, Sweet Man bonks 2 taps every member of their team. I get that. And I think that is good for the player base as a whole.
How much fun was the game when we were all brand new and we all sucked and everyone was just fucking slapping walls and missing and fucking nobody knew to crouch or jump or do anything besides run at each other and stab.
Blocking was infinite and there was no recourse. You could just sit there blocking forever. There was no recoil on the block animation. When you had a buckler, you just sat there with a heater shield and you could have 6 people beating on it at the same time.
Yeah, and then you'd S-key into a corner because you have no idea what you're doing, and then you just get overrun. It was fucking awesome because we were all shit at the game, and we were all learning. Now, if you can recreate that for new players and let them play in an environment where everyone sucks,
exactly,
then they get to learn the game and have a little bit of fun. Because every time you win those matches, I can think of Eternal Return, which is a game that probably nobody in this chat has played, and probably even only a couple people know about. But it's a MOBA battle royale, very difficult game to learn. Really fun. First match I played was against bots, and I actually had a blast playing that match because I killed a couple people, and I was like, dude, this is fucking sick. I'm kind of beating ass right now. And in the back of my head, I'm like, these are probably bots. But I played the match out and actually came close to winning my very first game, and I was like, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed that, and it got me to play another game. If I had just gone up against rank 1s that shit on me, I probably would have had a different experience.
Are under 25 lobbies like really full of veteran players running people down?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. So many people are playing metas.
Yeah.
So many people.
Like 35%.
And you can tell who they are when I'm knighting. I'm like, that's a sweat squad. Like they're actually buff balling.
3 in the kill feed.
They're panther chicken
sword
bearing flying into us. Like they are very much aware of what the fuck's happening.
And in solos, people are abusing. So many people are abusing, like in solos. I've been trying to do like sub 25 questing on my bard just to catch him up on the quest chains. And
you're doing it wrong.
Every single lobby is like full plate longsword bow fighter with werewolf skin or full strength druid, and I'm just like, I have to fight through this every fucking round. Every round there's like 5 of them, and it's just the most busted shit in each bracket that people will play. And in 124s they're just like min-maxing now too, and oh god, it's frustrating. Like,
so it's tough because like I think a lot of it is the welcome to Tarkov thing, where like it is really hard, and Tarkov doesn't have bots, but when you extract, you're like, I did it, I fucking extracted. Like, I think I could do this again. And so as much as I want more new player experience and I want like a special like new player queue or whatever, I think there's also something to be said about like that. Like a lot of the people I meet on Night Discord are like, I finally survived. Like it was fucking awesome. And my first thought is always like, I know I've got a lot of dead squires, but my first thought is always like, bro, I'll teach you how to extract like right away. Like we're definitely going to extract. And more often than not, we do extract and they're like, wow, like that was way easier like with you here. And so like I do think there's something about showing people and then also something about people achieving it on their own that is good. And it's sort of artificial to give them anything other than the real experience. But like also most people that are new, aren't they dying way before they get spawn rushed? Like
if they're brand new,
like, brand new people are just gonna die to the first.
But that's the new that's the new player experience combination, though. If you set someone into the dungeon with them being competent enough to not die to the first mob that they see, you then also need to make sure that they're not going to be getting spawn rushed, and I think that will create an experience that retains players. And ultimately, that's what this whole conversation is about. It's getting as many people to stick with the game for as long as possible, so that we can adapt the cues of the game to be as fun as possible.
So I also, just to not to be a dead horse, but I don't think, like, so at least in 124, from the people on my team's experience anyway, I lose a lot because, like, I'm going in solo with randoms and we're usually fighting a lot of pre-made teams, right? And, like, we die a lot. I die a lot. My teammates die a lot. But, like, when we do lose and die, if we had a good fight, like, the people on my team, like, that was really fun. Good fight, bro. You almost had a good try. Yeah. And, like, they leave the game happy. They're not, like, mauling. They're not pissed. I'm getting, like, a lot of good positive feedback as long as, like, the fights are good, which, generally speaking, at least when I'm involved, they are.
And the key there is, like you said, it's a good fight. It's not just a one-sided bullshit.
And,
like, when it's a good fight, people are like, hell yeah, that was awesome.
But a lot of is gear. Like, just player experiences matter, but, like, a lot of how a fight feels is, like, how hard did I get stat checked, or was I able to at least do something, or did I think I had an impact on this fight before I got ran down and stat checked? Like, that's really what it is. And I think that's why the gear score brackets are good right now. Even in, like, 124, when I am in maxing, which I'm not always doing, like, I can't get that strong. Like, I could put on, like, +7 magic damage, and, like, it's still taking me 8 shots to kill a barbarian that has nothing on. It's still taking me 5 hits to kill a fighter, 4 to kill a ranger, 3 to kill a cleric, if you could, or maybe more to kill a cleric. But, like, it feels pretty reasonable in 124. I think open bracket's different. I'm not sure what 25 is, but, like, you really can't get that strong on Wizard anyway. Druids can get really fucking strong in 124, by the way. You can get, like, 40 strength.
Barbarian and Druid are the problem child of 124.
Yep. They're the raid boss. But
naked lizard barbarian and just strength Druid is just, they're really dumb. And it's kind of the same thing sub 25. It's plate longsword, longbow fighter, strength Druid, and naked barbarian.
And, like, in 124, like, the teamies, like, they're not, like I said, what I was saying, they're not risking that much. Like, when they do take the L, it's like they're not losing, like, a crazy amount, but, like, they get a good experience to pixel ratio. That's how I like to describe it on my stream. Is like
pixel.
Like, I am setting my money on fire playing these 124 lobbies, but, like, we're getting a good dopamine to pixel ratio. It's, like, out of this world, a good rate, and I think that's what
the word you're looking for is fun.
No. I don't know what that is. Dopamine.
The fuck?
I don't know.
Dopamine.
We don't do that here. It's only about the fun. It's only about the dopamine.
But I hear what you're saying. I crank out the 124s. I like queuing into randoms. I will burn money in the favor of fun, no matter what, as long as I have a good experience doing it. And those 2 Timmies that I queued in with, like, I went full support cleric, and they got absolutely ass blasted by every single mob, every single Axeman, dude. I run res.
They don't want to live.
Died. They tried so hard. Those precious little barbarians. When I got them out, like, we went through all 3 layers. We won a PvP battle. Like, somehow I think we killed 1 guy and the other 2 scattered like rats because they were just a random queue. But by the end of that run, they were so happy. I got a message that I don't know what it meant, but it said, "Thank you so much." They were like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know you could type." By the end of that, they just learned that they could fucking type in the chat. And I was, so they were very, very new. They were like, "Thank you so much. I hope you get your dick sucked from the back." I was like, "Okay, thank you." I guess. Like,
that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to
me. I was like, "Thank you so much." Shout out to Smash Yet for that one. It was the weirdest thing, but they were like, the joy I could see in each layer progressing as I would, like, drop them a green fucking spelling axe, and they did the little Timmy crouch, like the little. They don't have emotes, so they just crouch spam looking at the sky with joy. I could tell it was palpable. They were having an absolute blast. By the time, I don't think they've ever seen an extract, so that was just. I think that dopamine hit for them was exceptional. And yeah, if you give them those free cues, it's not going to be the same. But Tarkov doesn't even give you a fucking map. Tarkov is, like, needlessly punishment oriented.
Sucks.
It sucks. It does suck. I hate like comparing it, but it's definitely a very, like, it's a valid comparison, but not, because Tarkov excels at just being shitty in a lot of different ways that there's no reason to do it except to be shitty. So that Dark and Darker for them, that's, I think, the true Dark and Darker experience. Yes, they got bag of smashed assholes for like 11 runs, maybe out of their 12th run. They finally get this random cleric who just fucks off and queues in to support them the entire way. And it makes that experience way better. Like the more breakage they have, the better that success tastes. And I don't know where that balancing point's going to be. Like how many matches maybe.
Yeah.
I think you're right to have it limited. Because I do think that getting people involved in the regular ecosystem of the game is important. But I still liken it to, we all look at the game with rose-tinted glasses when we look at how we got our start. But when we started, everyone fucking sucked and nobody knew anything, and the game was way slower and way shittier, and you didn't have starting potions or squire kits or any of the quality of life improvements that we've gotten over the course of the game, and there was a zone that you had to worry about. Like, the game now is so different. So coming in as a new player, it's just so much more difficult to deal with the average person than it was when we were playing back in the playtests.
Okay, I think we have to disagree here, because there was like 200 of us in the internal playtest, and we were literal masochists. We were Dark Souls enjoyers. If you took that experience,
I'm talking about PT2 and PT3 when we got up to 100,000 players.
Okay, well, I don't know, if we didn't have any potions and we didn't have a map and we didn't have any quests or anything, like, it was cool because it was like new and whatever, but I don't think that's nearly as good as it is now. Or like now,
no, I'm saying it's more comfortable, but because it's more comfortable and because it's easier, the players that are sitting just above the new players are like more capable than they were back then.
Punching down.
They're punching down a lot more.
But it's always like that. Like, that's every game.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm not sure if that's like a solvable problem. Like,
I don't know if it's solvable either.
That is agreeably not
it
solvable.
might be a good problem, because when typically with games like this that are skill based, especially fully PvP games, getting punched down on for the players who are going to stick with the game, they want to be the people punching down, and then there's people above them punching down, and like that is your like unassociated MMR. I just wanted to say, as far as like with end bosses thing, with like the new players, I like when they're super brand new and they don't even like understand that you're trying to help them, and you're like,
dude, you drop the same helmet
and you're hitting
drop
the
it
torch
7 times.
I'm like torching the ground, and I'm like this, and they run right past. I'm like, okay, maybe if I put it in the chest he's looting, and then he turns away, I'm like, take this,
or they loot it and they don't
try to help you.
They literally don't know how to equip a fucking item.
No, they think it's shit. They think it's shit. They're like, I don't need health. I need damage. Like, this is awful. I don't want this item. They don't understand how I feel like
this. Forge, bro. Whenever I'm knighting, I'm like,
we need an emote like the Dark Souls.
Oh yeah,
I have where you can yell "Hey" at somebody so they can actually like get their attention.
I remember that
some more voice lines.
There was the warlock that called me a fucking cheater because he was casting the wrong curse. I sat there in VoIP.
I remember
that. I assumed he wasn't in VoIP.
Yeah,
I assumed he was. I was like, hey, you're giving me power sacrifice. Cast a curse. Cast a curse. No, you're not casting. I thought he wasn't in VoIP, so I start beating his dick off with a torch, and he's like, "Oh, you're fucking hacking, bro." I was like, "You're in VoIP. You've used the wrong spell. Use the other fucking spell, you idiot." You know, like there are just some people you can't teach. But that's the kind of like the sliding scale of player on new player experience. Like we're talking like that's probably like a 3, and there are players at a 1. You hand them a potion, they drink the fucking whole stack. They don't know any different.
I love that. That's another really
yes,
one,
like
this would be a good animation.
Just don't know.
Like new player problems. They're just like you're like that is not how.
That's
sir,
not your.
I just drank 25 gold.
All right. Well,
all right, Arcane, do we have any more like big hot points that we need to hit, or should we go to like
we could keep this going for another 2.5 hours.
I'm actually starting to want to go to my HR dungeons that have the proper amount of loot and the good percentages for keys and artifacts.
And I kind of want to go to like my 124 lobbies where like people are just having fun with low risk, and you know, it's just a good time.
Exactly, and they don't need any better loot. It's low risk.
Yep.
I want the best of both of those.
We'll save the other topics for next time. I really want to touch on quick quality of life and the AP rank season, which by the next time we
pod... Oh shit, bro. Yeah, I actually named the season that October the 3rd. Season 4.
Is it the 3rd?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last week, but it was delayed by a week to make some last minute adjustments.
Thursday, boys. Thursday.
Oh damn!
I can't wait.
They said in the preseason. Yeah, they said in the preseason that and this was SDF and Terry talking about this on the One Peg Q&A, that they wanted to make changes to the way the AP's leaderboard worked. And
Please.
They made it sound like it was going to be pretty substantial. I haven't actually gotten a chance to look at it, but they delayed it by a week because they felt like it wasn't finished yet. So it's supposed to come out this week.
Is it the 3rd you said?
Yeah, it's coming out on the 3rd.
That's what I'm doing, like the Legacy Steel and Sorcery official, test.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know. I'm gonna play that actually. It is the 3rd.
So yeah, for next pod, we'll have that to talk about. The new AP ranked grind should be out.
Oh man, I'll be so tired by then.
Quality of life, that is one topic. I think it's not the most exciting one, but I've heard some discussion about that. Somebody in the chat over here, there's been a few YouTube videos have been put out about how can we minimize the amount of needless clicking in the lobby, navigating the UI. Like,
I hate it.
There
have come a long way.
of enhancements that could be made. It is a lot better. Like, so I don't think anyone's arguing that things now are not better than they used to be. They clearly are, but that doesn't mean that we can do a lot more. And
there's further strides we can make.
Yeah.
Oh yes, very much. So I kind of wanted to highlight a few of the most egregious aspects of that, and just how navigating the UI can be really, really tedious. But yeah, right now we've got a fair amount to look forward to. We've got AP ranked, revitalized, revamped, coming out Thursday, and hopefully the Banshee in the not too distant future. And what else did Terrence say might be coming this season? There was something else.
Socketing?
Yes, maybe. But I didn't get a high level of confidence on that. Sorcerer definitely sounds like
the arena leaderboard and an arena season that may or may not make it this season. Probably not, in my opinion, but possible.
Yeah.
It needs more
like I
development,
said,
in my opinion.
I would agree, but I think again, the bridge between them is hopefully some of the ideas that we've said here have been pretty decent. I think the arena bridge is a really good place where this could go, where you delve dungeon and you grind HR and AP for the season, and you use the shit you get there to go into arena to get arena points, to get like better things to bring to the dungeon, but none of it's required. I think those are really good systems.
I like the arena
passive
tokens
overlap
materials.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Also, touch back on the new player experience. Like, arena is so good for the new player experience. I have so many people in chat.
Yeah,
I've been encouraging everybody to do it.
Like, I've gotten so many reps in the arena. Like, sure, I'm getting my ass blasted, but like, I'm getting some good practice in the arena.
I had some sick
great
fights. Like, I lost. Yeah. It's just like the same thing we talked about. They're having good fights, but they're actually being able to improve now. It's like last time I kept hitting the shield. This time I actually jumped and I fucking cracked his skull, man. I'm learning.
I mean, even me, I'm like getting some good limit testing and like things. Like, I'm taking risk in arena that I wouldn't normally take in a normal match. Because like I'm not risking anything. Like I'm gonna go for this crazy sick play that I wouldn't normally do. I'm like, whoa, it worked out. Maybe I could do this in a regular game now.
You practiced it.
Yeah, that's great.
Hello, Poopy. That cat didn't love me, but she learned to love me.
Cat's tough to please.
Yeah,
it's the cat seems poopy. What do you want?
It's true. But I agree that was exactly what I was learning, is trying more things. You were doing the fucking shield block, spell reflect, trying to aim stuff. Like, you had some more crazy stuff in the arena because you have the little testing limitations there. And I think that's something that we're going to have a lot more opportunity to do stuff with. Maybe even like make a ridiculous arena queue mode where you don't lose any gear and people can bring in artifacts and have some crazy. There's so many options.
To touch on the Pavis spell block tech we're working on, for that one clip, there is like 10 clips of Jay trying to do it with a longsword and me just shooting Jay in the face with a fireball and missing the longsword.
Yeah, seeing those are fucking great.
Like, maybe we should switch to the Pavis.
No, he missed the parry, bro. He missed the parry.
Can you spell reflect chain?
No, it only projectiles.
No.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait, only what does?
You only spell reflect projectiles.
Oh, I didn't know that. But
you can
if you
block the zap, though, right?
Nothing
you can block the zap.
Yeah, you can block everything, yeah.
Oh, okay, then.
It just won't reflect.
Yeah. That's good.
It's cool. It's like how you stick an stick explosion on shield, it just sits there.
You can reflect the Lich Orb. That's
Man,
fine.
there's been, I don't know like what the change was, but I feel like way more often than I've ever seen before is wizards just exploding everybody. They're just like explosion,
Yes.
explosion,
My
explosion.
bad,
Explosion's
bro.
very
My
strong.
bad. My bad.
Does it
Yeah,
stack,
explosion's
dude?
always
Like,
been. Yes,
I made it
explosion will
popular.
stack. You can put 2 on a. You can
Dude,
put it up to 3, I guess, if you got
Yeah.
insane cast
Kind of
speed.
crazy.
You'll
what do
see
you?
the number.
It's a hit scan
incrementing
fireball.
when
What do you
hit.
think?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hit scan fireball that can also be a zone denial tool, and you can put it on a door, and then while it's the fuse is ticking, you can haste invis yourself. So right as the door explodes, you pop it through the door, haste invis.
Nice.
It's 8 more base
one.
damage
Good
than
one,
Zap.
Ben.
It's 8 more
Yeah.
base damage than Zap.
But
It's
also
AoE.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how often are you hitting somebody with that AoE?
I actually have a really good clip of a wizard sticking me when I was playing Warlock, and I hit Phantomize and ran right into him with his explosion.
I was going to say, more often than not, the explosion having AoE is actually a negative. I've been killed by my own explosion way more than I've gotten like multiple hits on enemies. But yeah, it is cool.
Right on.
Fellas, that's probably a good place to call it. We're almost 3 hours in. This may go down in history. Episode 30 as our longest of all time. It was a banger. We had some spirited, healthy debate. Feel like a lot of times we all get on here and agree with each other 99% of the time. It's kind of nice to have some good point and counterpoint. Yeah.
I must have missed this. I must have missed this podcast. Holy crap.
We do agree way too much on things. I'm agreeing with Scott on this.
That's nice.
I disagree with you on this.
That's all right. I will embrace
with you.
the heart of darkness. All right. You guys have a great night. Thank you for the podcast. For you guys who enjoy normals, stay fucking poor. Never have an artifact all wipe.
Holy shit.
Damn, he just laughed like that.
That guy just put a WWE
I
promo
hear
on
what
me.
you're saying.
Holy.
He's out.
Now I have to do a stream snipe this asshole. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's true.
Shall we load up the drums of war?
I can probably do a couple.
We can do it another time. No, honestly, for you.
Yeah, if I get off, I'm
guys.
just gonna eat like 20 garlic knots and pass out.
That sounds right.
Sounds like a great night.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Godspeed, gentlemen. I'll see you later.
Gents,
All right, gents.
Next week.
until
Bye-bye.
next time.
Next week.
Thanks everybody in the chat. We'll
Later.
see you.